Hello class and welcome to this
Super Mario Brothers 3!
walkthrough right here on Video Games 101 by way of Let's Play with Brigands.
You didn't say there'd be a new game!
Don't worry Jenny Lewis, we got you covered as we're going to show you every single secret, every single fact, everything to know about this classic. I'm your instructor, Professor Brigands, and this legendary title is widely regarded as being one of the best and most influential games of all time. And to match such a legendary game, I figure you need to have a legendary guest. So joining us once again, we've still got the best booking agent in the game. Here's Mario. Welcome back, Mario. How you been?
Mario, very good. How you been, Professor?
Well, not as good as you, Mario. When you were last here for our walkthrough of Super Mario Bros. 2, you were here promoting the then relatively brand new Super Mario Bros. Movie. It's since gone on to become a huge box office smash success, grossing over $1 billion at the box office internationally.
That's right. That's a billion with a B.
I think you made that joke last time, but it also set the record for the highest grossing opening weekend for any animated film in history.
That's right. That mouse gonna suck it.
Not sure Mickey still does movies, but point taken. By the way, maybe you've answered this before, but how come your clothes don't rip off, but they grow with you when you eat a super mushroom?
What can Mario say? It's the magic of the mushroom.
You don't know, do you?
No clue. All Mario knows is how it makes him feel.
How does it make you feel?
Incredible. Like you cannot do anything in the world.
And when you get hit and shrink back down?
It is the most painful experience you can possibly imagine, Professor.
Well, we'll have plenty of time to talk about that later. This is a long game, so let's get started. In terms of difficulty, I'm going to give Super Mario Bros. 3 a 5 out of 10, which on the frustration scale equates to... I'm sorry, it's actually nice being able to cover a class on something easier this week.
What you were talking about? Mario's games is as challenging as anything. You ever been to Pipeline, Professor?
Last week's class was on Battletoads.
Oh, shit.
I think we spooked Mario with the B word, but we'll try to get him back. In the meantime, let's start a new game and take a look at the controls for Super Mario Bros. 3. You can see there's a couple specialized commands for certain items you might have, but for the most part, pretty straightforward. Attack with B, jump with A, pause with start, things like that. As we take a look now at the Briggs notes, these are the keys to beating this game in the Super Mario Bros. 3 walkthrough. Not too many secrets. I mean, there's a ton of secrets. We'll show you all the secrets, but no secrets to beating this game. Just stock up on the good items and extra life locations, which we will show you. Right now, we're going to grab our first leaf, which gives us the raccoon tail. Clear out these Goombas with B, and we're going to use this runway to gain some speed holding down B. Get that P meter all the way up, and we can fly, get our first one up. I'm going to use this as a bit more runway here in the clouds. Go to the right and drop down on this pipe. We see a nice little nod to this being the third game in the Super Mario Bros. Series. This was arguably the first really big anticipated video game release, really in video game history, as we come in with a full head of steam, full P-bar. If we jump, we will get that star card. Get 3 of these, you get 5 extra lives at the end of the stage. But yeah, you can always guarantee that you get a star card at the end of the stage if you come in at full speed and jump just like that at the right time. Alright, so we have our first instance where we can stock up on extra lives. You really need to have a leaf here so that you can stagger your drop time, and even then it's tricky. There's a much easier way to get infinite lives coming up a little bit later, which we'll show you, but see if we can't get a couple here. This other Goomba can help us out, the flying one. You can see that multiplier going up, as long as we don't touch the ground in between dropping on enemies. And once we pass 8,000, we can get an extra life for every single one that we land on here. There's 2,000, 4,000. Just got that one in, and this should be an extra life right here. And if you keep this going, you can keep grabbing yourself some extra lives, but again, It's not the easiest one. We'll have a much easier one for you in a little bit. Let's bring in Blaze now for an overview of some of the basic items here in Mario 3.
Alright, let's talk about some of the basic items you can find in Super Mario Bros. 3, one of the greatest platformers of all time. First, we have the single coin. You know the drill by now, 100 of these in a Mario game earns you an extra life. You can also earn an extra life instantly if you find one of these typically hidden green mushrooms for a quick 1-up. Then we have the star, grants you temporary invincibility while playing a banging tune if you ask me. Then we have the mushroom. Grab one of these, the super mushroom allows you to grow to Super Mario. You can knock out blocks ahead of you. You know the drill by now, come on. You know the basic items in Mario, but I'm gonna keep going because this is a lot of fun. The fire flower gives Mario some fire power, same benefits as the mushroom otherwise. And then, new to this game, the super leaf. The same benefits as the mushroom, but you can flick your tail to attack enemies. And when you get a full P meter, you can fly for a limited amount of time. Man, this is a fantastic game.
Certainly is. Thank you very much, Blaze. After you hit that coin block, come over here, jump, and find this invisible red music note block. This will take us into the clouds, where we can grab a whole bunch of coins. This also jumps us a little further ahead in the stage. If you have a tail like we have right here, you can actually fly a little bit higher and get some extra coins and fun goodies like that. You can see those coins at the top of the screen. Once you've gotten everything, just drop down in this pipe and you'll get transported back to the level. We're about to get our first 1-up from coins, I believe, here. Let's backtrack here as there we go. As we drop down on this white block, the white blocks in this game, you can hold down and after about 5 seconds, he'll drop through and be in the background. Here in stage 1-3, if we go to the right after doing this, we'll access this secret mushroom house. And there's a warp whistle. As Toad mentioned, this will send us to a faraway land. We'll have Blaze better explain this a little bit later, but as we go to the first normal mushroom house, and at random, you can get either a mushroom, a fire flower, or a leaf. Technically it is random, but I like to always go for the third chest. Maybe it's my imagination, but I feel like I get the most leaves in that third chest, and the leaf being the most valuable item of those three. And speaking of valuable items, we can earn one from this stage by doing something. And let's bring in Fluff, actually, to cover this trick for our first Fluff fact about Super Mario Bros. 3.
In each of the first 7 worlds, there's an instance of the white mushroom house where you can earn either a P-wing on the odd-numbered worlds of 1, 3, 5, and 7, or an anchor on the even-numbered worlds of 2, 4, and 6. To unlock the white mushroom house, you have to collect and beat one level in each world with a specific number of coins. Typically this involves the challenge of getting all or most of the coins in that level. Here on 1-4, the number is 44, and Professor, I've given you a list of the remaining levels and their coin totals so you can inform the class accordingly.
I most certainly will. Thank you, Fluff. We'll show you each of the white mushroom house levels and the coin total that you need. Note that we have 44 showing right now, but we began this level with 3 coins, so we need 3 more to hit 44 for the whole stage, and we have just enough here. So now we can exit to the right, full speed, and you can see the jump was a little bit off there, a little bit early. The timing got off, and as such, we just get the 1-1-up from the mixed card layout there. But there's our white mushroom house. A very nice constellation. And as Fluff mentioned, we're going to earn our first P-Wing here, one of the most valuable items of this game. Blaze is going to talk about this a little bit later, some of the rarer items. We have our first mini-game coming up, where the idea is to match 3 pieces together. Go for the stars, it pays out 5 1-ups if you can do it. My strategy is to click a little bit late on the star, a little bit late on the star, and then pretty much right on the star. It's all relative to the middle, as you can see. And there you go. Very difficult to replicate, but that's generally the strategy which I adhere to. A little bit late, a little less late, and then right on the money in the middle. for that final star piece on the bottom, but as we go into our first fortress level, I recommend skipping the fire flower here. There is a leaf coming up, and we'll need the power of flight to get our second warp whistle. We need to clear this runway though, so hop on this dry bones' head and get up your P meter while he's stunned or broken on the ground, and then fly up here to the right. By the way, kudos to Jimmy from the Wizard. Kind of showed a couple clips, referenced that in the intro, for finding that first warp whistle. I would question how he knew that on his first time playing the game, but he was the Wizard. As we slide down here in level 1-5. It's fun just getting around as we can hit a hidden red music note block there. It's a lot more fun getting around this game when you have the raccoon tail, I will say. Just getting that P meter full and flying all over the screen, even in situations where there's nothing above you. In this case there is. We have that 1-up right there like we had on the first cloud coin level. We're already at 18 lives, just a few levels in, doing alright. And I believe once we finish this stage, we're going to have just over 80,000 points. And here to explain why that's important, here's Fluff once again.
The N-Spade card game appears every 80,000 points after you beat a level. One more thing about this game. When the card game appears on top of a fortress on the world map, the fortress will be collapsed and unplayable after you enter and complete the card game. This can soft lock you if actually beating that fortress was necessary in creating a bridge, as in the case in World 4.
And I understand there's a trick to this game. Is that true, Fluff?
That's right, Professor. There's only 8 possible boards each time you play this game. You get 2 mistakes before they kick you out, so if you flip over the same 2 cards at the start and consult a guide online which shows them all like this one here, you can quickly determine which specific board you're playing on and match all the titles accordingly, earning you all the spoils each and every time. This is a good time to mention your inventory gets capped at 4 pages of 7 items each, or a max of 28 items you can carry at once. After that, the final item in your inventory begins to get overridden every time you pick up a new item. As such, make sure you burn through any excess mushrooms and stars whenever you get close to full capacity.
Thank you, Fluff. Yeah, I suspect we're going to have to burn through some items before too long at the rate we're collecting these. Note that there's a 1-up in the second block from the right here. And note that the side which you hit the block on affects which side it comes out, so it's the opposite side. So hit it on the right, it goes to the left, and vice versa. I like to get up my P meter here if possible. Note that you can run over those single gaps, as long as you are running. Get up our P meter, and just use this to bypass a lot of this stage. And there we go, at the end of the stage right here. And we have our first mini-boss on the map as we take on our first Hammer Brothers, so let's throw it to Gary for our first boss beater. Gary?
It's Scary Gary's Boss Beaters. Alright, the Hammer Brothers, you want to start fast to get close before they throw their hammers. Quickly jump on their heads at the first opening, or you can hit the blocks underneath them when applicable. Not always blocks available, but if you do have them, it's a pretty safe way of getting them down.
Thank you, Gary. Let's test the tails never fails. The right chest always gives leaves. There it is. We'll try to come up with a better rhyme for that before this class is over, but if you have one, leave one in the comments, class. I'd appreciate it. As we're heading to our first airship level, they always start out with this, seeing what the king has been transformed into of each of these lands. And a very emotional Toad, freaking out. Most of the airship stages aren't too difficult. Most of them just involve avoiding projectiles which are flying around the screen like cannonballs or bullet bills. Usually you can stay in the back or the front of the screen to avoid most of the danger. Know that when you're rubbing up against one of the bullet bill cannons, interesting sentence, that they will not fire, so that's nice. You can kind of regulate and anticipate when they're going to fire once you get off there. But you're safe as long as you're touching one of them, even if there's one staring you right in the face with the actual barrel right there. Just take the openings as you get them. And we're coming up on our first of the Koopa Kids, so let's throw it to Gary.
Boss beaters.
Alright, Larry Koopa, the first of the Koopa Kids. Strategy for a lot of these Koopa Kids is pretty close to being the same. You want to jump on the head, obviously, and then retreat to the left or the right, generally wherever you have more room or flatter ground. When Larry jumps, jump on his head quickly before he gets another shot off, and then 3 head jumps or 10 fire flowers will take him down.
Good tips on Larry, Gary. Thank you very much. Something very satisfying about grabbing that scepter in midair. And after we beat one of these airship stages, we always get a special item from the princess. After the first world, we always get a P-Wing, which is nice. Goes through a cycle. It's P-Wing, Cloud, Music Box, and then at the 4th stage it repeats. So we get another P-Wing after 4, Cloud after 5, Music Box after 6, and one last P-Wing at 7 before the final world. But now here we are in Desert Land. Second world here in Super Mario Bros. 2. Watch out for the pile driver micro Goombas that are hiding in some of these blocks, these fake blocks. If you're accurate, you can whip one of the flames with your tail and take it down, but not really any need, not necessary. If we build enough speed, we can fly up here and access a hidden pipe right here. Grab ourselves some coins. These silver coins are worth just as much as the normal kind. You can see it whenever we hit one of those P blocks, it flips all of the coins for blocks and vice versa in the stage. That'll have some interesting applications a little bit later. We're going to backtrack here, pick up this 1-up. Generally speaking, we're going to show you every single 1-up you can get in this game, just part of the deep dive of every single level. And now, let's throw it back to Blaze for a look at the rarer items of Mario 3.
Alright, let's talk about some of the rare items you will find in Super Mario Bros. 3. First, the rarest of them all, Karibo's shoe, allows you to jump higher when you're inside of it and makes you invincible against enemies and threats beneath you that you wouldn't otherwise be able to walk on. Then we have the P-Wing, which is the same benefits as the Super Leaf or the Tanuki suit, with the exception being that you have a constant full P meter, so you can fly at will until you take damage, so hold on to that. We have the Warp Whistle, which allows you to warp to a later block of worlds. You could use 2 back-to-back to get straight to level 8 early on in the game, or World 8, I should say. Then we have the Music Box, which puts enemies on the overworld map to sleep, so you can get by them. We have Lakitu's Cloud, which allows you to skip 1 level. We have the Hammer, which allows you to access otherwise inaccessible areas. And then finally, the Anchor keeps the airship from moving if you lose a life on that airship. But there you go, the rare items of Super Mario Bros. 3.
Thank you, Blaze. And this is the White Mushroom House stage of World 2. The number to get is 30. We started with 2, so we need to end with 32 at least. To get that, make sure you don't destroy any more blocks than you need to. Hit that coin block right there. There's a 1-up right there if you want to grab that. Hidden. Don't hit any of these blocks prematurely. Once you've gotten all those free coins that are shown that we just grabbed, go back to the start. And this time, we're going to duck down and hit this block to find a P block. We're going to run as fast as we can to the right here. Ride this platform. Still need to get 3 more, and to get that, there's 4 here at the end, and we just got enough. So there's 31 coins in this stage, I believe, and yeah, not a lot of wiggle room for failure. They're on 2-2. Honestly, though, if we didn't get them all, it wouldn't be the end of the world, because, as Fluff mentioned, the prize here in this White Mushroom House is an anchor, which, as Blaze just mentioned, isn't really relevant for our purposes. It stops the airship from moving around, but if you're completing all the levels like we are anyway, then the airship isn't going to be moving anywhere that we can't access otherwise, so not a big deal, but There it is. Just use it now. Just get rid of it. We move on to the first fortress stage here in World 2. The only fortress stage here in World 2. And we actually didn't get to see the boss of the first fortress stage because we took that shortcut to get the warp whistle. So we'll bring Gary in to show us how to beat Boom Boom. Get a pretty reliable strategy for him. We ride the pipe up here. The raccoon tail, not just for accessing hidden areas, but just nice for avoiding more dangerous situations just by staggering that drop time in a lot of situations as we run at full speed right here, right on through. As we have the debut of the Boos from the Super Mario series right here, making their first appearance. I think purportedly they were inspired by one of the developers' wives, I read, and she was shy, but had a temper, so hence the Boos personalities. Looking away from you, but then coming in hot. But anyway, Gary, Boom Boom.
Boss beater.
The Boom Boom. Jump on his head, retreat, and then time that next jump right when he jumps to hit him again. Repeat the step one more time. He takes 3 hits to take him down. You can repeat this every time you run into Boom Boom, no matter which version, the flying version, the jumping version. It always works on him, the running version. This will always work. Trust me, take him down.
Thank you, Gary. Got another tile match game right here. And I always like to flip the leftmost and rightmost in that second row to figure out which board we're working with. Every now and then you may need to pull one more with your next move to finally lock down which board you're on, but by then you can certainly tell definitively which board you're on. And a mini fun fact, the last 3 cards on that bottom row are always a mushroom, fire flower, and star in that order. For whatever that's worth. Doesn't really help us with the game, but the more you know, right? Alright, how about third box, always a lock? Finally got our little rhyme. And of course, that's the time it fails us. I think we all saw that one coming. Anyway, as I lick my wounds, let's throw it back to Fluff for information about the mythical white coin ship and how we can access it. Fluff?
To change a Hammer Brother into the white ship, which is full of coins, collect a number of coins that is a multiple of 11. Make sure the tens digit in your score matches the number, so 40 points for 44 coins. And make sure the timer ends when you beat the stage on an even number. If you manage to pull off this trick designed by someone who I guarantee has a bit of an obsessive-compulsive streak, a Hammer Brother will be transformed into the epic white ship of fortune. Note that this only works on stages with Hammer Brothers walking about, or specifically 1, 3, 5, and 6.
Good call, Fluff, thank you. As we gain some speed here and take to the sky, we'll find a P block, which will transform all the blocks into coins. Get our 1-up right there, but yeah, it's just a coin collecting spree. Still gotta watch out for those disguised micro Goombas. So cute, but so deadly. Be careful when you knock the shell right here. It pops back off that wall pretty quickly and it can hit you if you're not quick enough. This is doing the heavy lifting for us, and then we're gonna drop down. And there's more coins to be had if you're patient. I'm not. Not worth the couple coins we'd pick up. Got our second star there. Let's see if we can go 3 for 3 this time. The next stage is the actual desert stage of Desert Land. And this is where the raccoon tail really pays off. We can use it to make this stage a lot easier, a lot faster. Build up some momentum right about here, and then just launch off of that piece of land and fly over that first little tornado. Normally you need to build up full speed to, yeah, got a little aggressive and careless trying to fly again. But still, if we just keep full speed. There we go. Our first 5 ups right there. But yeah, if you get caught in that tornado, just make sure you're running at it at full speed and jump, and you can sort of launch over it. Pretty satisfying, actually. Alright, third box, always a lock. I feel like ever since I came up with a proper rhyme, it's, yep. It really is random, but there you are. I'm not going to give up on box number 3. If you have a super leaf in your inventory, I recommend using it right now. If you don't already have a raccoon tail going in the level 2-4, we just use it to take a little, sort of a shortcut, but only way we can access this at the top left. Get that full P-bar and just fly up here. And there's a P switch in one of these blocks. I think it's the 3rd or 4th from the left on the right side here. There it is. It's a relatively short level though. After we hit this, just go to the right and we can bypass a lot of the obstacles of this stage just by taking the top route. And I think just a little bit to the right is the end of the stage. Right there, yep. Very short level if you use that trick. Watch out for the boomerang brother waiting for you at the end, just to make sure you don't get a nice card. We're gonna hit 5 before we take on those Hammer Brothers. And Fluff, I'm told you have a fun fact about the chain chomps?
This next Fluff fact is attributed to someone who didn't have anything better to do. If you wait around the chain chomp long enough, specifically at the 160-second mark, the chain chomp will break loose and launch at you before jumping off the screen.
Who has the time? Thank you very much, Fluff. And note that even when we're large Mario, we can still get underneath those blocks like that. Trying to get there we go. As we access another hidden area up here, only accessible by having the raccoon tail. Got another P switch here. There's a leaf in this rightmost one, this bottom right one, if you don't already have one. They're very generous with the leaves here in 5-5. And just like that little shortcut, we're at the end of the level, mind the chain chomp. We might be able to get ourselves a 3 in a row for the fire flowers, which of course means we won't. You know how that goes. Alright, let's try this again. A little late. Little late. That was a little too late, I think, on that last one. Yep, messes the whole thing up. Alright, another mini-boss here. Let's go back to Gary. What do you got, Gary?
Boss beaters.
Alright, Boomerang Brothers, start fast and jump over that first boomerang as you approach the boss. We'll give them that title. Be nice to them. Jump on their head before they get that second boomerang off. Just like that, they're gone.
Thank you, Gary. Yep, pays to be aggressive with the Boomerang Brothers as we head into the pyramid, where we get to the second airship of this game. There's that Koji Kondo Pipe World music again. Like the callback to the original Mario. The tail once again helps in this stage, so you're not reliant on the Buzzy Beetles to flip one on their back and toss them against the blocks to get through. Bunch of coins here if you want to pop up here. If you keep as many of those blocks intact, you can hit this P switch and get a few more coins out of the deal. Just look down and notice we have 38 lives at this point. Doing pretty good in that category right now. This should spit us out at the end of the level. Let's see if we can stagger our timing here, and maybe there it is. 3 fire flowers. Good for 3 extra lives. We're at 41 now. Looking pretty good. There's another end card here. So let's again flip the first and last one in that second row. There's still 2 different boards which feature a 10 in those 2 spots, so gotta open up a couple more of these to figure out exactly which board we're on. And I think I got it now. Again, you always know there's a star in that bottom right, and a flower next to it, and then a mushroom next to that. I need to take a look. Yeah, we're almost out of space in our pants. Not the worst thing in the world if the hammer, or the boomerang brother, knocks us around. There's a music box. As Blaze mentioned, puts the Hammer Brothers on the map to sleep. I just like it for the change of music that it provides every now and then. Use our hammer here and we're going to get our first special suit of Super Mario Bros. 3. Doesn't matter which one you open, they are all frog suits right here. And yeah, we just need to burn through some stuff at this point. Start creating some space in our inventory. As we get a rare Fire Brothers sighting right here, as we get the final warp whistle. Let's throw it back to Blaze now to get some information on the 3 special suits of Super Mario Bros. 3.
Alright, let's talk about the 3 specialized suits which you can get in Super Mario Bros. 3. First, the frog suit. Great for swimming, awkward for jumping. Next, we have the Tanuki suit. It's the same as the Super Leaf, but we can hold down and press B to become a statue, and it's a lot cuter, let's be honest. And finally, the Hammer suit. Maybe the rarest in this game. You can throw hammers, and you can hold down to duck and block fire on the ground with that shell.
Yeah, the hammer suit is pretty awesome, I have to say. Nice having, I mean, the fire flower is nice, but the hammers are more satisfying to toss around, if you ask me. Just my opinion. Thing to be aware of in some of these airship stages is when the airship sways up and down, rather the screen. The bullet bills and other projectiles will kind of slowly change their trajectory, so just something to be aware of here. I'm gonna wait till these all fire and then drop down and make that transition, quickly jump back up before these bullet bills have a chance at us. We have our first Rocky Wrench sightings of this game. These guys that pop out and toss wrenches at us. Fire flowers, nice against them. And it's time for the second boss, Gary.
Boss beaters.
Alright, Morton Koopa Jr. The exact same strategy as Larry. Jump on his head, retreat left or right. You want to maybe favor where you have flatter ground and more room to move around. And once again, 3 head jumps, 10 fire flower shots will take him down.
Yeah, they didn't go overboard with the boss battles in this game, I'll admit. They're all relatively the same, with a couple wrinkles here and there, which I'm sure Gary will tell us about as we move along. We are now 1/4 through this game. Maybe a little bit less, considering some of the later worlds have more stages to them. But still, 2 for 2. And we get a cloud from the princess this time, which, as Blaze mentioned, it can be useful for skipping some of the more difficult stages. But we're moving on to Waterland next. We'll get Mario back in here, and I get to ask him a question I've been meaning to ask him for a very long time in the next one. All right, Waterland. The frog suit can be very useful in some of these stages, the underwater stages like this one right here. Here at the start, let's drop down. Get a fire flower under the sea as I resist an overwhelming urge to break into Disney song right now. You can see the air jets coming out of some of these pipes pushing you up. Some of these pipes you can actually enter, and if you have the frog suit, you can push past the current and enter those pipes. We'll be doing that a little bit later. Actually, with some of them, if you fall in with enough speed from above and hit it at the right angle, you can get in without needing a frog suit. We'll show that as well. You can jump up and over here and get ourselves another fire flower. If you don't have one already. It's another one of those little secrets. They're pretty generous still with the items at this point. And the fire flower very useful against the bloopers, as you just saw. Like as they slowly fade off the screen. The one up right there, and this will propel us back out. And that should be the end of the level right there. A little bit off. She mentioned it helps to come in at a 45-degree angle, a perfect 45-degree angle. So here you want to hit the bottom left corner of that box at full speed to guarantee the star every time. Sometimes they don't give you a whole lot of real estate when you come out of that pipe, so it's more difficult to find the sweet spot. This is a interesting level in that if we have a star and we keep hitting these boxes, we can keep our invincibility going. If you don't have a star by the time you hit this next one, it'll just be a coin. And went to the wrong side, that's alright. Well, the level's almost over anyway, so not a big deal. Always good to have a fire flower for these cheap levels. Fry some fish. Give another P-switch right there. There's a fire flower in here, just to show it. And actually, if we have a raccoon tail here, we can fly up and to the left. I can show you a little bit without it. We can jump, but can't get the one up without it. You can see it's a lot more stuff going on up there, but you do need to be able to fly to get that. Yeah, when you have a lot more runway, it's easier to hit that star. All these are going to be frog suits in these boxes, mind you. Doesn't matter which one you hit. Later in the stage, there will be item houses where a frog suit is one of the options alongside lesser items. Not that I'm a big frog suit guy, but... This stage, we have the boss bass to contend with, swimming around. The fire flower is very useful. Can take care of the boss bass for a limited amount of time before he regenerates and is right back there in the water again. And the boss bass can swallow you with one bite, so hit the P-switch here and start moving to make this level a lot easier. And turn all these coins into a bridge for you. Just be ready when they disappear, just like that. Because so too will go your floor beneath you. And there we go. We're ready to take on the next fortress level, actually. One of two here in Waterland. And let's actually... Ben, have we got another... That should be easy with the fire flower. Generally take the leaf over the fire flower any day of the week. Do you concur, Mario?
Yes, Mario here much rather fly. Besides, Mario here charged one too many times for arson in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Well, I'm glad you're back, Mario. I still have a lot of questions for you. Things I didn't get a chance to ask you about last time you were here. As,
You gotta play better, Professor. Mario here getting his ass kicked.
Yeah, right. I'm sorry.
After Gary gave you the tips too, and you let the mushroom get away. Mario no like to be small.
You're right. I'm sorry. I'll chalk it up to just being a little nervous when I'm in the presence of a living legend, so...
You know I kiss Mario's ass. You just to play better.
Alright, well, anyway, we got the hammer, which we can use a little bit later. I don't recommend using it to get to the match game here. We're gonna hold on to that and grab a whole bunch of items a little bit later. But if I can get back to asking you a question, Mario.
Shoot, Professor.
Actually, the two-tone floor of the stage reminds me, and sorry, class, just follow along. This is one of those maze-type levels.
Yeah, Mario no like it. Mario get very confused.
Yeah, right. Just you have to know the right pipes to go through and everything to get to the ending and to the boom boom. But anyway, I've been meaning to get your opinion on something, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so a little over a decade ago, I was living in New York City and singing and playing guitar for a ska band. and we actually covered the Super Mario Brothers theme at our Halloween show.
There was a reason Ska only lasted 3 months, Professor.
But it was fun though, and the whole band even dressed up as characters from the Mario universe.
Oh, you would dress up as a Mario?
No, I actually wore a novelty Donkey Kong t-shirt and brown pants. It was pretty lazy, if I'm honest.
Oh.
But I was thinking I could play you a bit of that video and get your take on it. What do you say?
Look, Professor, being in a ska band, that's one of those things you should probably keep to yourself in the future. I mean, lots of people did things they're not proud of. Had a Mario here fake a medical license in the 90s just to get his hands on some pills.
Oh yeah, Dr. Mario. Yeah, we have a class on that coming up eventually. Can we lock you in to show up for that one now, by the way?
Well, Kenny, you are guaranteed you can get a Mario some of those pills. Mario here hasn't tasted the sweet, sweet yellows, reds and blues since the 90s.
I'm not gonna commit to getting you drugs in the middle of class, but we can probably rustle you up a Video Games 101 tote or something.
Aha, and if Mario here reach into the bag and he find a surprise, then it is what it is, eh? Mario here read you loud and clear, Professor. You can count a Mario in.
But the ska band?
Ugh, let's get this over with.
Ben?
Dio mio. Questa è spazzatura! You messed that part up, Professor! That part is okay! Okay, we're picking it up now. Let's go. But no one even dressed like a Mario.
Our drummer was. He was in the back.
No one can even see him. Mario, he need to be up front. He's the star. You have a lowly servant like Toad more visible than a Mario. He's wrong. And one more thing, you disrespect Mario dressing up like a Donkey Kong. He kidnapped the princess for Goomba's sake.
Yeah, but you put him in a cage.
No. Mario here no want more members from PETA outside his house. Mario here pay off his debt to society. This interview is over, and your cover sucks. Just like ska, garbage genre. He's the virtual boy of music. Mario here leave.
Ben, can we try to get him back? Sorry about that, class. If you have the frog suit in this stage, you can drop into one of these pipes, this one right here. Like I mentioned earlier, go against the current. Make sure you hold to the right as soon as you come out to get yourself 3 1-ups. Not too shabby. They'll be there waiting for you at the bottom if you want to grab most of the coins. As we missed that one. A lot easier to get around in the water though when you have the suit. Got the hidden 1-up right there. We're coming up on the stage actually where there's the unlimited 1-up, so we should be able to top off our count before too long. But yeah, much more controlled strokes when you're in the frog suit. Awful for getting around on non-water-based levels, but yeah. Gliding around in the water when you're wearing it. Very difficult. I like that hop. Very difficult to time up that star perfectly when you have the frog suit. And while the bridges are down, let's pop in this item mushroom house. Grab ourselves a new item. The mushroom has been replaced, there you go, by the frog suit. Otherwise it's a fire flower or a super leaf. There you go. Third box, always a lock. Whatever my rhyme was, even though I'm not a big frog suit guy. I feel like I've said that a couple times now. If you want to use your hammer right there on the rock, you have access to a few more of these item shops where you have a 1 in 3 chance of getting a frog suit, otherwise a fire flower or a super leaf. There it is. Third box. Never fails. Honestly, there's a lot more items if you use the hammer here, but if you hang on to it, you have a chance at an extra Tanuki suit in the next stage, so it's your preference essentially. But while we're doing the match game and getting these items here, let's bring Fluff back in for an interesting fact about Super Mario Bros. 3. Fluff?
ID Software, the people behind popular 3D shooters of the early 90s like the Wolfenstein, Doom, and Quake franchises, sent a PC demo of Super Mario Bros. 3 to Nintendo, hoping to gain authorization to make their own official port for the PC. Nintendo was impressed, but ultimately declined, keeping the game as a Nintendo system exclusive. The demo was based on a test they put together and named Dangerous Dave and Copyright Infringement, made by ID designer John Carmack, and it was especially impressive as he created a way to have smooth, scrolling EGA graphics, which was considered to be difficult to implement at the time. Mario's sprite was replaced by Dangerous Dave, a character from John Romero's game of the same name, in a completely playable recreation of World 1-1 from Super Mario Bros. 3.
Thank you, Fluff. That is an interesting... By the way, this is just the normal item house right here, so mushroom, fire flower, or leaf. Which is why, again, kind of underwhelming the items you can get by knocking down that boulder. It's just a lot more items in general, so... But anyway, yeah, never would have expected an ID4 and Nintendo connection on any level whatsoever. They seem as far apart as possible. ID4 with their violent games, which Nintendo generally shied away from, but very interesting nonetheless. As we go to 3-6 now, arguably one of the worst stages you can show up to in a frog suit. I don't recommend it. You know what, we're going to try this. We're going to keep this going for a little bit longer. This may be our first death, that's alright. It's for educational purposes. Actually, no, changed my mind. I would like to keep this no death run intact for as long as possible. Seeing as we do upload these later on without the commentary. For members of the class who just want to focus on the game. And the music sometimes, Koji Kondo. One of the best. Must be nice to have written some of the most. Gotta be very careful there, that could have crushed us against the invisible wall at the end of the world. Yeah, some of the most recognizable pieces of music of the late 20th century. Pretty cool. The one up to be grabbed there if you can squeeze in. Wasn't worth sacrificing the life. Again, we have the stage coming up in which we can basically get unlimited one-ups. It's here in Waterland. Be very careful with that little spinning platform right there. Hit it at the wrong time and it will launch you to your death. And another instance where the raccoon tail is just very nice for staggering your drop a little bit, slowing that down and coming in for a cleaner landing. So while the bridge does come down here and we could skip a couple levels, we're not going to do that, of course. We're going to show you everything. These little guys are called spikes. And for obvious reasons, that's one heck of a party trick, by the way. Pulling a massive spiked ball out of just inside of you, anywhere. I don't know where they're keeping it. It can be pleasant. Regardless, once you hit this switch, drop down here, go to the left, get a one-up right there. Kind of impossible to get if you don't hit that switch, obviously, but get some coins out of the deal, always nice. We have some extra clouds here, and if you land on this little pad, there's that hidden red note block. And once again, we are in the clouds. Up to 56 lives. I keep teasing it, that level is just around the corner, actually. Can't go up in this one. What you see is what you get, but we do get ourselves a cloud from the clouds, much better than just a handful of coins. And now we do have to go through the fortress since the bridge is up, but that's by design. Mario sure is good at holding his breath. I should have asked him when he was here, maybe if I remember. When we get him back in a couple worlds. Fire Flower again works very well against these cheap cheeps underwater. And you got these boos that are... That's a tough life, man. Just being part of the furniture, essentially. But with the swimming mechanics, there you go. They're doing a pretty good job on us. This is where it helps to be a little bit smaller. And then we're going to stick to Gary's tactic of just jump on, jump off, jump on, jump off, jump on, jump off. Sensei Gary. Alright. This is a good excuse to burn more of our inventory at this point. We have so many things at this point. I guess we don't have as many as I thought we did. Eventually I'm just gonna stop doing these match games. Just too easy, and I could see if, you know, you were getting maybe a Tanuki suit or something more decent out of these than a random 1-up or a couple fire flowers. I guess you get 2 of everything for the most part. 2 stars, 2 fire flowers, $10, 2 mushrooms, $20, 30 if we want to put it all together, an extra life. And what are we missing here? And 1 more star, yep. Not even leaves, you know? Let's try the match. That first one's always pretty easy to hit. A little bit late on the second one, and then we want to be pretty close. Maybe a little bit early on that last one. There we go. Almost got, well, we got about 2/3 the way to maximum lives. Even without the life trick, which is coming up here in a second. Alright, so 3-8 is another stage in which we can unlock a white mushroom house. Get ourselves another P-Wing. If we hit that left block right there, we can get a beanstalk and grab ourselves a very useful fire flower against the boss bass. I don't know that I'm going to try to go for the 44 coins this time. Our inventory is pretty much at max capacity at this point, and we're going to have enough P-Wings by the time we get to the end of this game to do what we want anyway, so not going to worry about it. We're just going to power through here. But if you did want to get them all, then basically it's just a matter of collecting everything and then hitting that P switch and scooping up the remainder of the coins which appear from the blocks. Not too difficult on this one. But there you go, that would have been the Mushroom House stage right there. 44 coins. We are finally at 3-9. This is the extra life stage. This is the one where you can really farm those extra lives very easily. Just have to do exactly what we mentioned here. Make sure you grab a Koopa shell there at the start. Be careful about not whacking it on any of these enemies. Create a little opening there and go right enough so that the shell keeps bouncing around back and forth. And now we just have to wait. You can see we're going to speed things up. The bullet bills keep coming out of those cannons. The shell's taking care of them for us. And the only enemy at this time, for our purposes, is that clock, and we should have plenty of time to get to 99 lives and still complete the level. Pretty satisfying, though, I have to say. A lot easier than jumping on Goombas, hoping they come out of the pipe again and again and again in a timely manner. Not our problem this time around. Alright, so we have a little bit more time to explore. If we go back here, I believe there it is. There's a leaf for us. And there's actually, if we go down to where we were, where we cleaned up when it came to the lives, we can take this pipe down. Try not to lose this leaf as soon as we got it. Drop down here and swim to the left over this little block area right there. Mind the Cheep Cheeps, or the singular Cheep Cheep. Pop in here and hug the right, and we have ourselves a frog suit for what that's worth. Again, not a big frog suit guy, but there you go. Certainly makes getting around in the water more manageable. A little bit faster as well. I do like the animation they switch over to when you pick something up and then Mario's like, oh wait, I still have feet and I can walk around normally. There's a 1-up hidden in there, and there's a firefly. You know, we're running out of time. I'm not gonna. Let's just finish this one up. Spend a little extra time gathering all those extra lives. But yeah, fire flower if you keep going left, and there was a extra life in that one block that was different from the rest. I believe that's the first time we've been close to running low on time. We almost lost our first life in all of the chaos right there. We were probably fine on time. But at least we got our second star there. Not that it matters at this point, at 99 lives, which we aim to keep for the rest of the game. Transfer through these pipes here. It's time for the next airship. Take on the third Koopa Kid. And we're probably not even gonna have that star. Or it's pretty useless at best because yeah, not much you can do with it on the airship. But just for my own curiosity, do we get to keep it when we touch down? Yes, we do. Alright, there you go. We get those fun little flips and everything, the somersaults in air. You can see as the ship moves up and down, those wrenches' position changes relative to us, so have to be careful. I think you can jump over that, but yeah, just thread that needle there. There is a leaf right there, which I will again always take. There we go, a little shortcut up top, or at least a relatively safer route. And this is the first instance of one of these cylindrical screws that you come across a few times. This one we just bounce off of and basically hover over to the right, avoiding most of the trouble. About 4 seconds before they respawn, so they don't give you a ton of time. And let's go back to Gary for tips on the next Koopa Kid.
Boss beaters.
Alright, Wendy! I'm very quickly sounding like a broken record. Jump on her head. Move left or right depending on where you have room. And just jump on their head before they get those shots off. 3 head jumps, 10 fire flower shots will take them down.
Thanks, Gary. Yeah, Wendy's little, I guess, life preserver type attacks from her wand always made me hungry for some lifesavers. The things we remember. We've saved another kingdom. Waterworld, or Waterland. Kevin Costner would be proud. Is that our distant cousin, or not even distant? He looks just like Mario. And this is the worst gift that she gives us on the multiples of 3 levels, 3 and 6. Another music box. Defeat your enemies, or put them to sleep. Anyway. Here we are in Giant Land. A lot of fun mechanics here in Giant Land. If you knock down that boulder, if you had a hammer left over, maybe didn't use yours earlier in Waterland, then you can use that too. Yeah, I love the giant enemies. It's easier for our purposes, as we have a much larger surface area to fall on. I like the tiny little item coming out of the giant block that we destroy, which turns into 4 little blocks. And the physics of swimming up the waterfall like that's fun. We've gotten to the point where just praising the game mechanics. This first stage isn't too difficult, so I feel like we can get away with that. This is Big Bertha, different from the boss bass, and that this is the one that spits out the tiny little cheeps. then kind of swallows it back up, cannibal style. I'm not really sure what to make of that. Maybe she's just keeping her child safe, but a couple one-ups to be had there. We come out to the right, we can drop straight down, grab ourselves another super leaf, and note that you can stand on these clouds, which is nice. I love the giant animated Koopa Troopas. They only have room for one flower to come out of one of those massive pipes. But yeah, they don't do all that much. There you go, 5 one-ups that we don't need, but they don't do as much with the mechanic as I would like. I might have been spoiled later on with Mario 64 when they did that giant land quite effectively, if you ask me. We are maxed out right now, just burning through stuff needlessly. Stars, fire flowers. Know how it works by now, Toad. I haven't lost one of these yet. Come on. Who do you think you're talking to here? Yeah, there is one stage here in Giant Land in which you can transition between the normal-sized world and the giant world. But yeah, they definitely did a lot more with it, probably just because they could when they were making Super Mario 64. But there you go, cleaned up once again. What are the odds? Yeah, if you do have a hammer left over, you can knock down that left boulder, grab yourself a Tanuki suit. There's a giant flower. By the way, this is another of the White Mushroom house levels. This is the one for World 4. The number to collect is 24 coins. This is one of those stages where you need to collect every single coin. So as soon as you hit this P switch, jump out of the water, head to the right, jump over this and grab these last 3, and now we should be good. We should get just enough. In our game, I think we started with 31, so we need to get to 55, which we just did. I think we just nailed it. Didn't really hide any of the coins in this particular stage. Pretty straightforward, just about making sure you grab them all in time. This being an even stage, all we're going to get is a kind of worthless for our purposes anchor, but just the same, since it's easy enough to collect them all on that stage. And while we're collecting this underwhelming item, I'm told Fluff has a fact about this stage in particular.
Notice anything about the shape of World 4's main island, Professor?
Well, I guess I see eyes?
It's shaped like a giant Koopa.
Okay, yeah, I see it now. That's a nice little detail. Good call, Fluff. Thank you. That's a quick one. There you go. Third box, always a lock. I'm gonna change that rhyme about 100 times before we finish this game. What's bigger than a hammer, brother? Or a hammer in general, I should say. A sledge hammer. Those are sledge brothers. They bring the pain. Unless you have the fire flower, of course, in which case you just burn them and they're out of your life. Didn't really need that Koopa Troopa right there. You just make that jump with enough speed and you're good to go. Thread that needle. Play with a little extra confidence when you have a raccoon tail, I have to say. And then as soon as you have, plus you can fly. Even when you don't really need to fly, it just helps you navigate the stage a little bit more easily. But yeah, as soon as you're small Mario, confidence just gets shot. Skills go out the window. Got our fortress stage, or our first fortress stage here in Giant Land. I'm gonna go down this middle pipe right here. Mind the dry bones. grab yourself a fire flower from that block. We're just going to cut straight through. And you may have noticed I personally like to work a super leaf, a raccoon tail, get my PP meter up. Sorry, just singular P meter. That's a different meter we're talking about. Get the P meter maxed out, and then just basically hang above the boom boom, and then drop in as if we were jumping on his head. Eventually I'm going to skip these match games as well, but seeing as we won the last one. Oh wow, I got lazy. It's usually the easiest one to land too. Something you'll notice is if you go for the mushroom, it's an easier lineup to get those 2 extra lives than the star, which obviously pays out 5, so. Alright, so this stage, if you have the frog suit, you can just swim right through that. We want to get to the left. Or, and I kind of mentioned this earlier, we just drop straight into the left. If you have the angle right and enough speed as you're dropping down, then you can get right through, slip right in, and hit this P switch. Grab a whole mess of coins. We don't need them, but it's so satisfying collecting them. Can't explain it. Another P switch right here. We can use the ones that we didn't collect as little platforms to help us collect right there. And as we're here, might as well collect the last 3. We're gonna have a decent score at the end of this one, if nothing else. Like Giant Land's interpretation of the underwater levels, as we have Lake 2 dropping spinies down, trying to jam us up. Not today, Lake 2. This is Lake 2 before he got into reporting, or camera work at the very least. Kind of picture him as kind of a Jake Gyllenhaal in Nightcrawler type situation. Go into crime scenes, and I mean, he could just float right in. Seems pretty convenient. I don't know what I'm saying right now. Let's see, do we need to... we got space for 1 more item. Might as well get big right here. Double big. What else can we burn? Those are always the first to go. 3rd box, always a lock. Actually, how about you give me all of them or I'll jump into you with this star, Toad. There we go. Been working out pretty well recently. 3rd box, glass. Go for it. Got a couple Sledge Brothers here. Get that star going. Make this anticlimactic. Grab ourselves another cloud. Eventually we're gonna have so many of these that we can, and we have another Sledgehammer Brothers. You just do a little shallow jump with them. Much more underwhelming star that time. And let's go in order. Let's go to 5 next. 4, 5. Trying to think of what to burn right here. Let's just stick with our mushroom that we got. So much for that. Give ourselves plenty of time to react right there. Again, the skills, my confidence is so shot when I'm down to small Mario. Knowing any hit could kill you. Once again. There we go. Of course, if you're not already Big Mario, then those flowers just revert to... That's close. Needed a haircut. Just revert to a regular mushroom in effect. We have a beanstalk up there. We can ride one of these bullet bills up into the pipe. And get ourselves... That's right, a Tanuki suit. And here with some facts on the Tanuki suit, here is Fluff.
Blaze mentioned the Tanuki suit earlier, but did you know it's also flame resistant? The burners on the airship shoot out flames for a limited time on a cycle. To actually extinguish the flames, jump over one of them in the Tanuki suit and activate the statue form as you're dropping down to snuff out the flame. You can take out other enemies which are thought to be otherwise invincible with this technique, including thwomps and chain chomps. The Tanuki suit itself gets its inspiration and name from the cute Japanese raccoon dog, also known as the Tanuki in Japan, which Mario resembles when wearing that suit. Tanuki in Japanese mythology are known for being deceptive and shape-shifting tricksters, which explains Mario's ability to shapeshift into a statue and trick his enemies at will while wearing the suit.
Thank you, Fluff. That is one of the cutest animals I have ever seen in my life. The Tanuki. No offense, Fluff. I mean, you're alright, but... Raccoon dogs, sign me up. Go late. Yeah, that was late. Go a little bit early on that. Oh well. Abomination. Let's see how long we can hold on to this Tanuki suit, actually. At this stage. Alright, star 10. So then the match should be, yep. If you do accidentally, or don't feel like cheating, and you are legitimately trying to guess, which good for you, then, and you fail out, then it'll hold your progress for next time, so. Good thing about clearing out the map is that, obviously, you get a clean one next time, so you have a chance of getting even more prizes, let's call them. Very middling prizes, but still prizes nonetheless. One up right there. You have just enough juice left in the tank to get up here to the little cloud section. So adorable, Mario in the Tanuki suit. And this is the stage which is the most like that stage in Mario 64, in that you can go through the door and get back to normal-sized land. They put the two side by side there, but yeah, I think they could have done more with that. It's one of those things where I'm surprised, the developers take the time to put a mechanic like that into the game, and then they don't use it more often. It's just that one stage, essentially. Alright, this is a 1 in 3 chance to get the Tanuki suit. You know we're going for that 30. Yeah, there you go. Alright. Not some garbage frog suit. That's pretty good. We got a nice closet full of Tanukis at this point. We need to develop our Hammer Brothers suit at this point, or our Hammer suit, but other than that... And just that extra bit of confidence when you have the ability to fly and just hover around the stage. Really nothing like it, I have to say. Wait for one of these dry bones to drop down so we can get a little jump off of them. As you can see, there's a hidden door right there, framed by the coins. We're going to be dealing with this mechanic a lot later. This is the pipe land. Just a little taste of pipe land ahead of time. The ones with the light bulbs you can jump on, and then every time you do that, it'll change its direction which it's going in. Make sure we hit that. This isn't going to be anything that we need, but just to show, there is a fire flower for you. Again, we're going to see how long we can hold on to this dream. By which I mean this Tanuki suit. We can go around the world like that. And if you're feeling impatient and you've got wings, just go ahead and do that. And there's a one up to the right. If you can fly up here, then you can grab it. You don't have to hit it with your residual flight. You can just drop down and run back and forth long enough to get the P meter that you need. And what do we find here? 3 more extra lives. Happy day. keen-eyed observers will notice that there is a block in the top left. We fly up here. Get some more coins. How about that? Not the most valuable secret, but a secret nonetheless. There we go. Try to make it more difficult with these close quarters. And this one is the jumping variety. I don't think one of these boom booms has hit us yet. Keeping that streak going. And we still have our Tanuki suit. Real question is, can we beat the airship with the Tanuki suit? And I believe we get a special message from the king if we beat it wearing different outfits. I like the little dinosaur king. Can you confirm that, Fluff? Is that true?
Beating the airship levels with one of the special suits Blades mentioned earlier will earn you a special response from the king. With the frog suit, the king will say, "Oh me, oh my, you've been transformed. Shall I change you back with this wand?" With the Tanuki suit, it's, "Thank you, kind raccoon. Please tell me your name." And the hammer suit, "Hey you, how about lending me your clothes? No dice? What a drag."
Alright. Well, let's prove that by surviving this slowest of the airships right here. Agonizingly slow. Which you can argue makes it more difficult as the enemies take more shots at you, things like that. Of course, if it's faster, then you need to be more precise with your jumps. Plenty of time to do some shallow jumps to move this thing along. We don't even have to worry about these flames at the bottom. And it just locks in. Totally unnecessary, but a very satisfying feeling. And once it locks in, you don't have to worry about slipping down on it anymore. What trashy items in there? No thank you. I'm dressed up as a Tanuki right now. Do you think I want to change that? Mario's embraced the furry lifestyle. It's a beautiful thing. No judgment here, Mario. That was close. So very slow. Seems like cigarette lighters. Bit to me. Alright, can we get enough speed to make this jump here? Nope. Not quite. It's alright. Not exactly the gauntlet that we need to sneak through here. Again, this would be a much more difficult jump if we didn't have the ability to stagger our drop. And this is the one airship where there's a hidden item right there, in which case a super leaf. Gary?
Boss beaters. Right, Iggy. Exact same strategy. Can you believe it? Jump on the head, go left or right wherever you have more room in the room, and just jump off the head or on the head before they get their shot off. 3 head jumps, 10 fire flowers.
Thank you very much, Gary. I think Iggy was maybe my favorite when I was a kid. I like the blue on the shell. It's a nice color. Alright, we survived with our Tanuki suit intact. What message are we going to get from this king? Thank you, kind raccoon. There you go. Please tell me your name. Fooled him. Didn't even have to go full statue there. I believe we get another P-Wing. There we go. Inventory's looking good. We'll see if we can't get Mario back for World 5. Alright, still got our Tanuki suit, 99 lives. Mario is going to be joining us in a bit, I'm told. Things are looking up as we are roughly halfway through this Super Mario Bros. 3 walkthrough. And I use that phrase advisedly because we are literally going up here now on Skyland. I recommend having at least a Super Mushroom or being Super Mario, full-size Mario before you come here. hit that third from the right box to get yourself a star. While you have the star, hit this one to get a second star. And then clear out these chain chomps. There's a super leaf in that box right there, so you can grab that if you don't have one. You're going to need one to fly here in a second. Clear out this space. We wanted to kill that chain chomp just so we could have enough runway, so we can fly up here. Actually, being Tanuki Mario, we could have just statued on top of those chain chomps, but that's how you do it without it. Just have those stars. And there's a secret up above there we'll grab in just a minute, but we're going to go through this pipe first. Go to the right, hit these boxes, these blocks, we can grab ourselves 4 extra lives. Not too shabby. Now we're going to head back into the tube, the pipe right here, build up some speed, and then at the last second we're going to duck before we start flying. And you'll see why. So duck when you have that P, and then jump, and you will float up as if you're flying. And then once you get back up, it'll force you to go to the right here. And just like that, we get ourselves a music box. Thankfully, we're not trapped here. It lets us complete the stage just like that. And we're on to 5-2. Do yourself a favor when you drop through this pipe. Be very careful as you're dropping down. You can use the raccoon tail to stagger your drop if you have one, to make sure you land on that musical note block a little bit more safely. Still have our Tanuki suit. Don't want to jinx it, but if you drop down, it's a different way to get back out. If we go through this pipe here, you can grab 3 extra lives. We really don't need them at this point, so we're just gonna press on. And just like that, we are at the end of this stage. It's on to 5-3 now, which is a very special level. It is the soul appearance of one of the items which Blaze mentioned earlier. And I use that term advisedly, soul appearance. We'll have Fluff mention it as we're just trying to burn through some stuff which won't change our form right now. Open up a couple slots for ourselves. I do like that music box theme. These are all Tanuki suits, by the way. Doesn't matter which one you pick. I can pretend that 3 was the best box there once again, but no, really, all those would have generated a Tanuki suit. Keep it fair. Keep it fair. 5-3. This is another instance where you took the time to make this particular item, Nintendo. Why doesn't it appear in more than one stage? There it is. Karibo's shoe. And there's actually, so you jump on it and it disappears. So the way you want to get one is to go underneath at this section and just hit the block. And there you go. We're in the shoe. Karibo's shoe. Fluff, what's with that name?
The power-up Karibo's shoe is actually the Japanese name for the power-up, but it was left unchanged for the English release. Karibo is simply the Japanese word for Goomba.
Oh, really is that simple. Thank you very much, Fluff. There you go. Yeah, I don't remember if it was related to when this game was out, but at some point in the mid-90s, I distinctly remember Goombas being the toy in the McDonald's Happy Meal when I was a kid. I'm sure they've pulled that out a few times over the years as we bounce to the end of the stage, and unfortunately we can't take, even if we have it intact, it just disappears. Very sad. At least donate it, or, just recycle it, give it to another Goomba. I don't even know if I want to hit that at this point. We have way too many items. Especially when we hang on to them as well as we do with our Tanuki suit. Been getting a lot of mileage. This thing probably smells pretty bad by now, actually. Didn't think about that. Another star that we absolutely do not need. Just out of range. This other Hammer Brother, I believe, gives us a P-Wing, so much more valuable item, these pair of Hammer Brothers. The somersault is just so unnecessary. I love it. I think I will go back and do the match game. To the left here. It was a wind-up Goomba toy to finish that thought. Had little feet and walked around. Good times. Not really sure what they put in McDonald's Happy Meals now. Actually, no, that's not true. My nieces were visiting recently, and we went to McDonald's and got them a Happy Meal, or got them both Happy Meals. And I guess this was a little bit after the Super Mario Brothers movie that we referenced in opening with Mario. It had just come out, so I guess they were doing a tie-in with that, so... Yeah, it was all Mario-themed toys. I feel like they do that every 5 years or so, do a tie-in there. Alright, so this one, you want to build up some speed, and then fly through these bricks. Try to avoid that, and go all the way to the top here, and drop through this pipe. And this arrow trying to tell us something. Got a one up there, got a one up there, and one more if we had the speed. There we go, and a one up there. Not too shabby. It spits us out here, which is not too far from the Boom Boom. Thread the needle here, still trying to hold on. This is a great instance where the raccoon tail really works for baiting that thwomp and then just pulling back. Not having to commit to a jump and risk falling into the lava. And once again, that strategy works out incredibly well. Mini fact, I believe if you take down one of those Boom Booms, we'll have a chance to do it later. It's very difficult. There's one or two fortresses where if you where there's a star near the end of the stage when you take on the Boom Boom, and if you can get to the Boom Boom in time and beat them with the star, then I believe it turns that orb that you pick up upside down. Doesn't even qualify as a fluff fact. I'm gonna stay in my lane as we use our first P-Wing now. This is optional, but just to show you what you can do here as we are transitioning up to the sky. The sky portion of Skyland. We did the land portion, now we're going up to the sky. And the P-Wing helps us out for accessing some interesting stuff here in Skyland. Just makes it a little bit easier in this particular sort of fortress stage right here. Just gotta make sure we hold on to it. Need to get rid of the Tanuki suit though, I have to say. We kept that going. At least we gave it up on our terms, so you can go up and over the wall right here. And doing this will earn you, it's kind of difficult to collect this one while you're flying, but you can grab a 1-up right there. So I think the screen is meant to scroll up here, and we should be able to see where these two other blocks are, but for whatever reason, it's just the camera is stuck right here, so we're just sort of blindly flying around trying to find this last block, and collecting that 1-up is, yeah, it's going to be impossible that way, but there you go. You can only access those via the P-Wing. Certainly not worth sacrificing one of the best items in the game, probably the best item in the game, in the P-Wing. When extra lives are so easy to come by, especially using like the trick we showed earlier. But we pop out here, there's a beanstalk to the right, which we'll show you. It's just in that block right there, the normal block. And then come on outside the pipe right there. And we are now in the clouds on 5-4. This would be a good stage for the P-Wing, actually. We can make use of, now it's just a normal raccoon tail, but we can make use of flying up to this first little cloud section. Use as much of this as possible. Just use this as a runway and avoid as many of these platforms as we can, these flipping platforms. That slowed our momentum down, unfortunately, but even without it, I think we can just float on down to the end of the stage right here, and you didn't miss anything. It's just some difficult platforming with those flipping platforms. They literally flip. I'm not censoring myself or anything there. You saw them, they flip. So that's how we recommend doing that. On to 5-5, which is the White Mushroom House stage. Here the number to collect is 28 coins, which isn't too difficult on this one, so we need to get to 85 in our own game. If you knock the 2 blocks off of this rightmost pipe and drop down, grab a bunch of coins, and more importantly, we can replace our Tanuki suit that we had to give up for that P-Wing to show that rather underwhelming secret there in that last, or a couple stages ago. There are plenty of super leaves here, and I didn't do that very well. Oh well. That's alright. Need to grab another 14 coins. There's a few more to the left that we missed when we took that shortcut, so double back here. There's also, alright, well, whatever. There's a power up in this leftmost block right there. Then we need to grab a few of these, just basically get in the middle between 2, write it down, and then jump at the last second. And now we have all the coins we need to unlock that, well, alright. If we survive. A little sloppy play here on 5-5. May cost us our first. No, we're okay. And we got ourselves, I think, this is an odd number level, so we're going to get ourselves a P-Wing here. Replace the one that we blew in that couple stages ago. Nice. Alright, looking good. And that mushroom house in the top right is another chance. That's a 1 in 3 chance to get another Tanuki suit, actually. Alongside, I guess, a fire flower and a leaf. Oh well. Not gonna be mad about it. The third box has paid out pretty well throughout this Super Mario Bros. 3 walkthrough so far, so... A little late. Ah, that should have been good. Alright. Yeah, they are extremely sticklerish. If I can kind of invent a word right here on the spot about those checkpoints on the star in particular. Get another music box for the collection. We have a massive rave outside of Bowser's Castle when we're burning through all these items, playing all these music boxes, pulling them up like John Cusack and Say Anything. This isn't the worst stage to have some sort of tail, honestly. These parabeetles act a little counterintuitively. They start to sink and you just think they're going to take you down to the bottom, but then they start to fly back up to the top. Which actually kind of helps us in the long run. But there is a super leaf waiting for you right there. Help us stagger our drops a little bit more effectively now. There's a P switch in one of these blocks underneath here. Changes these platforms up a little bit. Just be very careful when the music wears off, because make sure you're on this platform right here at least, or over here, even better. Otherwise you will more than likely fall to your death right there. Just a lost Lakitu. Level was back there, man. He's confused. This mushroom house right here, the items, is just your standard mushroom, fire flower, and super leaf. Do I have... how much space have I got at this point? Okay. Got at least 6 slots open here. And I'm curious, we're not going to use this. What happens if we... Okay, then. Alright, on to 5-7 here, as we burn through a few more items. But actually, let's see if we can't get ourselves one more of the super leaves here in the third box. Did not mean to pick that up, I was just firing. We'll never know now. We had a 50-50 chance of that being a super leaf there at the end. Alright, so this is an interesting stage. There's a stage within the stage. As we drop down here to the right. Actually, kind of a tricky. Really not worth it for me to try, but I'll show you nonetheless. One up right there. Be very careful. Make sure you're coming back after that jump, but go through the pipe. Want to grab yourself a super leaf right there. And then start flying, and you want to be 2 to the right of that leftmost one right there to hit that switch, or at least make it appear. And now we want to be 1 to the right of this post, knock through the blocks, and we might need to come back in one more time. We can grab a whole mess of coins up here in the clouds. There we go. Drop back down on the floor and fly back up once again. Grab a few more of these before time runs out. That's alright. And then we can run over to the right, jump over the wall, and just like that, we've beaten the level. I like that. Alright, joining us once again after that dust up in World 3, it's Mario, everybody. Thanks for coming back, Mario.
Mario here wants 2 tote bags apiece when you have him on for Dr. Mario. And next time you play Mario's song, you better dress up like a Mario.
Sure, Mario. Yeah, next time I'm living in New York City and playing in a ska band 13 years ago, yeah, I'll dress up like you at a Halloween show.
Damn right.
Well, let's get back to Super Mario Bros. 3, if we can. I was too young to really remember much about when this game came out, and I mentioned this earlier, I remember there never having quite been a video game release like Super Mario Bros. 3. It was probably the first big anticipated video game in history, and I think a lot of our class, they'd really be interested in what your memories were from that time.
Well, you see, we had a biggest budget on SMB3 after the success of everything, and we had the major movie tie-in with the Wizard, and that meant we had craft service. Oh, the pasta dishes they had. You never believe the size of the meatballs, Professor. And they had a whole cannoli tray of vanilla, pistachio, chocolate. Oh, Mario's mouth water just to think about it.
So, a lot of pasta and good food?
Yes, it was delicious.
Okay, well, not that I don't appreciate that, but I think we're going to bring in Fluff to maybe supplement some of those memories just a little bit with some fun facts about the game's cultural impact and the making of the game, if you don't mind.
How are you not a fire that cat yet, Professor? He did wait.
Fluff? No, we've had our differences over the years, but he's quite knowledgeable and he's a good cat. Hey, Fluff.
Hello again, Professor. Hello, Mario.
Hello, cat. Now, if you don't excuse me, I'm gonna have to come back later, Mario. His allergies are acting up.
Yeah, right. Well, Mario was right in that Super Mario Bros. 3 budget was pretty sizable, as the production budget ballooned to over $1 million, which was particularly expensive for games at the time. While most games of that era were completed in production cycles of 3 to 6 months, development on Super Mario Bros. 3 began shortly after the release of Super Mario 2 on the Japanese Famicom in 1986. And it took over 2 years to complete, even with its relatively large production team of over 10 people. Music composer Koji Kondo returned to provide a number of new themes, as well as adaptations of selections from his score from the original Super Mario Bros., and Mario series creator and developer Shigeru Miyamoto served as director on the game and encouraged creative and original ideas from his team. Many elements of the game were inspired by personal experiences. The infamous Chain Chomp enemy's inspiration, for instance, came from an early childhood memory of Miyamoto's, in which an aggressive dog which was tied up lunged at him. Bowser's Koopa Kids, the Koopalings, each had a unique design and personality, and were each purportedly named after an eclectic group of famous musicians. Ludwig von Koopa was named for Ludwig von Beethoven, Roy Koopa for Roy Orbison, Iggy for Iggy Pop, Lemmy for Lemmy Kilmister of Motorhead, Wendy for Wendy O. Williams of the Plasmatics, and Morton for Morton Downey Jr., a late-night talk show host. Larry is the odd Koopa out, and he was purportedly named as such just because he looked like a Larry. Super Mario Bros. 3 went through a lot of changes during its development cycle. For instance, initially the team intended the game to play from an isometric point of view, like that of Marble Madness, before the developers decided it made the platforming elements too difficult, and instead they reverted back to the two-dimensional view of the previous games. The game also featured an early idea of Mario changing into a centaur before they settled on a raccoon tail with limited flying abilities. There are also a number of levels which were shown in early VHS promotional tapes but didn't make it into the game, which can still be accessed via Game Genie codes. There are also images from before the game's release, which suggest that there were 2 additional minigames which didn't make it into the final game, which featured a Koopa Troopa and a Hammer Brother as the game's hosts.
And maybe if they had had 3 years, thanks Fluff, that's a crazy amount of time to be developing a video game in the mid-80s, I have to say. Just based on, we've done a lot of classes, a lot of walkthroughs here on Video Games 101, and yeah, a lot of games which were made in the mid to late 80s, and yeah, you'll hear stories like Battle of Olympus, fantastic game, but a team of, I think, 3 people, maybe 4, churned that game out in about 3 months. It's crazy to think about. Just makes those games all the more impressive, but I digress. Gary?
Boss beaters.
All right, Roy Koopa, finally something a little different. You want to make sure you're in the air when he lands. Note that he does the double jump. You want to jump on his head, retreat left to right wherever you have more room. But yeah, the main thing is you don't want to be stunned by his weight when he comes down. And you just jump on his head before he gets his shots off. You'll take him down.
So wow, I honestly thought Roy Koopa was going for more of like a wrestler vibe with his mask or whatever, but now that I can see that those are like Roy Orbison sunglasses, it all makes sense now. Never would have made that connection as a kid. That's pretty cool. What's less cool, are his legs, his beard? Does his beard have legs? I never really understood the animation of that particular king, but got ourselves another cloud which we can blow foolishly like we did the last one. As we're now in Iceland. Not that Iceland. I do like the music here though. Simple as it is. Iceland is, I believe, the largest world in the game. As we fly up here, little secret area. And the ice is nice and kind of necessary to slide through some of these. If you get back in time, we can get through here. If not, you can use the tail, but just in the interest of cleaning everything up, that's nice. Use our residual flight here just to hang to the right and skip a bit more of this stage. Just be very careful when you're coming back down. Got these spitting piranha plants. Patuis, I think some of them are called, that spit their little spiked balls out. And I think we're done with the match game at this point. Not this match game, but the card game. Still like to try my my theory on the there we go. very satisfying, even though we don't need the lives. Very satisfying nonetheless. We have another horizontal scrolling stage here. Again, the tail is recommended to stagger your drops here. I'll give you one right there if you don't have one already. If you're quick, you can use these platforms and jump up and over, otherwise we need to act quickly and smash it out with our tail. You might think this is the White Mushroom House stage with the way the coins are oriented and the limited time they're giving you to collect them, but no. Here you need to hold back and make that jump. I did that prematurely. If I didn't have the tail right there, we would have been crushed with the screen. Grisly death for Mario. Well, for anyone for that matter, come to think of it. A lot of folks who would appreciate or enjoy being crushed alive. You get up to that block in time and grab a 1-up right there. Hit it at the left side and you can have it drop down and scoop it up when it drops down to that platform right there. One of the trickier stages we've had in a while, actually. Very easily lose a life there. Grab 5 more. Nope. Lost it right there. Sometimes they hide an item. We got a hammer, which we don't really need anymore at this stage in the game. We can use it to knock out that pipe, but it just sends us back to that pipe at the left side of the screen, so no use for that. This is just your standard mushroom, fire flower, and leaf combo right here. No valuable suits to be had. Although in the next stage, hit this before we go into the fortress. There's a secret area on this stage. Give ourselves a little room to react here. Grab the tail. And we want to toss the shell. Alright, if you miss it, go back and grab another one. And if you miss it again, go back and grab another one. Thankfully, they keep respawning. We want to toss this shell just so it hits right there. There we go. Well, whatever, it's worth it. Because as we climb this right here, bounce on here to the top of this and jump, and down the pipe we go, we get ourselves another Tanuki suit. Perfect insulation for Iceland right here, the harsh temperatures. And another coin area up here if you want to smash through and collect some more coins. We are coming up on 1,000,000 points, so that's right there waiting for us. Use our residual P meter right there to float down to the right here. Just gotta be very careful about where we're dropping because we have no idea what's beneath us at this point. Thankfully we have just enough juice in the tank to get to the end of the level. Mistime that jump there, but not too worried about lives at this stage in the game. Now to open that lock, we do need to take on this fortress right here. Got a super leaf right there. If you still have the Tanuki suit, not a bad idea to statue here to keep yourself safe from the roto discs. Another enemy which, again, you'd have no way to defeat unless you had that ability. Gain some speed and we can fly up here Grab ourselves a 1-up. Alright, this is... I kind of mentioned this earlier. I'm gonna see if we can't collect this star and get to the... Oh, I think we messed that up. See if we can get to the boom boom. Just gonna absolutely plow to the right here. And it's just... Oh, there it is. And there's the upside down. Thought I remembered that. Nice. Not worth any extra. It's just a bit of fun. Alright. Carry on now to 6-4. Totally worth giving up the Tanuki suit if you ask me. Right, there's a hidden melody block which will send us to the sky right there. But I'm gonna hold off before I jump on that and grab this super leaf. Take us up to Coin Heaven, up in the clouds. Nothing above us for this one. No chest waiting for us either, just another pipe to send us back down. And as you're coming out, if you have a little bit of P left in your meter, go to the left, and this top one is a coin block we can smack a few times. Directly beneath us there's a P switch we can hit. And just with those, normally there'd be blocks in that one section out of the way, we can transition through this a little more easily. And going up and over is a little bit safer when it comes to those little spinning platforms right there, which can easily toss you down into a pit. Make up your mind, Hammer Brothers, where are we going? Man, this would be a really bad time for the game to glitch out. Oh dear. Oh please. This is not, okay. Thought we're gonna have to run a contingency class on something else. Alright. We continue. Alright, this stage is interesting. Gain some momentum, but watch out for the enemies walking around at the bottom here. And we can fly up into this third gap. Grab ourselves a 1-up. Just killed his friend. Watch out, we do want to be able to have this flight ability here. If we get rid of these blocks, we can create a little bit of a runway for ourselves. And we actually want to have a Koopa shell with us, a Koopa Troopa shell, so go back to the right, and this one should have respawned. And there we are. Pick it up and get your P meter full again. Then we're going to fly into this gap right here. And we're going to launch the shell like so. And that is how we access this pipe. And that was that was sloppy. That's alright. And that's actually the only way to beat the level. If you don't have a super leaf, raccoon tail, there are plenty in the level. If you kept going to the right, then it would send you through some pipes and spit you out in an area where you can grab one. So they're always respawning there. I hadn't seen that before though from the Hammer Brothers. That was even after dozens and dozens and dozens of times playing this game over the years. Still see something new. We're just overpowered for these poor Hammer Brothers at this point. Digging deep into the inventory, pulling out all sorts of tricks. All kinds of party favors. Alright, 6-6. Take the high road here and we can grab ourselves another fire flower, which is good considering we just lost ours. Got these cheeps jumping, transitioning between their little spots, and they somehow disappear in that water. We know they're in there. Water has to be freezing. I don't know if the fire flower keeps Mario a little bit warmer there, hopefully. Hopefully so. Go in the corner here and you grab yourself a 1-up. Another fire flower in one of those 2 boxes right there. I think it's the one on the right. Yep. The stretch is a lot easier between the piranha plants and the cheeps if you have the fire flower at this stage. Don't even waste time, just ABF at this stage. Just keep firing. Always be firing. And then finally, we are out. There you go, 6-6. We'll always have the memories. Moving right along, we still have our fire flowers. Might as well torch these Hammer Brothers while we're in their neighborhood. Or maybe when we got the fire flower there in our neighborhood class. Let's put it in those terms. Just so many unnecessary. I can count on probably one finger the number of times in which a star at the start of a level is actually helpful, but you know, it's a Mario game. You gotta have your stars, obviously. And no matter which chest you pull here, you will get yourself a hammer suit. Love the hammer suit. Probably my personal favorite. Just the ability to toss hammers it's fun. And then ducking and having the fireproof shell, that's nice too. Alright, so 6-7, we need to collect 78 coins to get the white mushroom house to appear. To do this, we actually need a fire flower near the end of this stage. This is probably the hardest one to trigger in the whole game because looked like that fire chomp just took a second to curse us out there. Because obviously all the pits, you want to be able to float more than you sink like a rock on this stage. I like to stay at the front, keep ahead of this. Here's our fire flower. Be very careful jumping at this point, class. We want to hold on to this fire flower. There's a 1-up right there for what it's worth. Grab that. Need to get every single one of these coins, or as many as possible. Ride these down and jump back up to safety. Not taking any chances. And if you make it through with your fire flower intact, you can use it to melt the ice cubes down here and collect the remaining coins you need to access the white mushroom house. And speaking of coins, let's talk about what a huge smash success this game was with Fluff.
When the game was finally released, it became a smash success in Japan and was the #2 best-selling game of 1988, second only to Dragon Quest III, which came out 8 months before Super Mario Bros. 3's October 1988 release date. Because of the whole wanting to release an easier Mario game for Mario 2 in North America, which led to the international port of Doki Doki Panic and the Super Mario Bros. 2 as we know it, something we covered in depth in our class in Super Mario Bros. 2, the international version of Super Mario Bros. 2 came out just 2 weeks before Super Mario Bros. 3 was released in Japan. Between Nintendo outside of Japan wanting to create a little buffer between their Super Mario 2 and the new Super Mario Bros. 3 game, as well as a 1988 shortage of ROM chips, Mario was delayed for the NES until February of 1990, 16 months after its Japanese release. This ended up working in Nintendo's favor, as it offered Nintendo the opportunity to tease and promote the lead-up to the game's release, which culminated with the game's inclusion in the December 1989 release of the feature-length film The Wizard, which I'll talk more about a little later. All total, according to a 1990 article from the Indianapolis Star, Nintendo spent an unheard of at the time $25 million promoting Super Mario Bros. 3. The investment proved to be well worth it, as the game became the best-selling game in Japan in 1989 and the best-selling game in the US in 1990. In fact, it sold more in 1990 than the next 4 years' worth of best-selling games combined. To date, the game has sold roughly 20 million copies, making it the third best-selling NES game of all time, just behind Super Mario Bros. And Duck Hunt, which earned most of their sales in being bundled with the NES. The game earned over $500 million in revenue for Nintendo by early 1992 alone, which, adjusting for inflation, would be well over $1 billion today. Adjusted for inflation, it remains one of the highest-grossing, non-bundled titles in video game history and has received numerous awards and been featured on countless best games of all-time lists.
Thank you very much, Fluff. Yeah, that is an eye-opener when you stop and consider the best-selling game for each of the next 4 years was basically the equivalent of what Mario sold in its release year in 1990, at least in North America. That's just crazy. 20 million copies. Truly impressive stuff, especially for the time, but this stage, nothing too crazy going on here. A few hidden one-ups here and there. There's going to be a nice little coin block in the sky once we hit this. If I could just hit it right here, P switch. I recommend going to the right here, getting your P meter up, and coming back into the right, and jumping, and then flying up, and then you can fly into this big old coin block right here. Or block coins, I should say. Very different thing when you're playing a Mario game when you say coin block. And that's 6-8. Nothing too crazy there. And this next level has one of my favorite hacks from this game. Admittedly, we're gonna miss a couple things, but I can't resist myself. This is how I like to play 6-9 right here in Mario 3. It's difficult. Make sure you have some sort of tail when you enter this stage. It's difficult, but you can just about get your P meter up. Don't worry about not having a lot of momentum or anything. As soon as you have it, start flying and go up and to the right. You can go over this block of ice right here, drop down to the right, and just like that, you've beaten the entire level, bypassed a pretty decent chunk right there. There you go, pretty satisfying, and we're knocking on the door of 1 million points here. As we move on to 6-10, the only world in Super Mario Bros. 3 with a 10th level within the world. Here we want to grab this fire flower right here. And there's a P block, or P switch, at the top of this beanstalk. And while we can enjoy jumping through this massive stack of coins, we want to hurry over to the right here. And then jump on these plants and melt them while they're still encapsulated in ice. And then jump up here, we can grab ourselves a free hammer suit. Pretty fantastic. Love tossing these things about, and we can save the one in our inventory for a very specific purpose a little bit later. We'll see how long we can keep this. Might not be long. Game's a lot more difficult when you don't have the power of flight. Even in the limited capacity that we normally have it in. Kind of a tricky jump here. You want to make sure you hit that with speed. Very careful with the spinning platforms right there. And there you go. I even got the star. And there's our million points. Very nice. Alright, moving on to the second fortress. It's not enough that they have 10 stages, but 2 fortresses on top of that. And we may well lose our hammer suit here. I'm going to try to hold on to it. Like that we can take down the boos with the hammer, as well as the thwomps. Like to try to use this. That was just... That's alright. Alright, note that the background goes up and down here. If you wait long enough, this door will be accessible. Just gap the booze. This takes us to the boom boom here. There's a lot more obstacles in the way. Trying to gum up our strategy, which Gary shared with us what seems like a very long time ago now. Roughly 3/4 through this game. Finally made it to the castle. Very appropriate. The seal on the throne. I mean, you can't tell me every single one of these rulers would be better in human form. There's got to be one or two of them that probably weren't that good at their job to begin with, and they're like, you know, the people are like, well, our king's a seal, but at least he doesn't tax us to death anymore like he used to. I don't know. I like the color of the ship right here. The ships get a bit thinner the more you go on, and they're making more use out of these cylindrical screw type pieces here, so you want to make sure you get to the front quickly and start these micro jumps. As long as you don't panic, you generally will have time to get them where you need to make that transition jump. As always, much easier if you have a tail, but at this point, find the gap there. We'll do what we can. You have enough room to squeeze between these flames. Just have to do some tight stepping right there. Wait for the camera guy to pan up. And there's our leaf. Almost looks like the camera goes up in such a way that it's all pit down there, but don't worry, you can still walk there. Kind of a hodgepodge of an airship. Anyway, Gary?
Boss beaters.
Alright, Lemmy, avoid the balls and don't get cornered with Lemmy. Otherwise, just jump on his head, left or right where we got more room, and 3 jumps or 10 fire flowers takes down Lemmy.
Thank you very much, Gary. Yeah, I haven't done the fire flower yet. Keep mentioning that. Maybe when we get to Bowser, we have a more creative plan for Bowser, actually. We're going to show you quite a few strategies for dealing with the king of the Koopas himself. That is, yeah, I don't know. I think the seal was an improvement. No offense. That's very mean to this king, but whatever. Like a gold-plated outfit? Goldar from that's a dated reference, but 2 worlds to go. We'll bring Mario back for Pipeland and see if we can avoid offending him this time. Alright, welcome to Pipeland class, my personal favorite world in this Super Mario Bros. 3 walkthrough, right here on Video Games 101. We should have our special guest TA Mario back before too long, because, let's be honest, that man is drawn to pipe like a moth to a flame. And before you take that out of context, here's Fluff with a Fluff fact I'm told about Pipeland. Fluff?
Notice anything about the shape of World 7's islands, Professor?
I don't know. Let me pull it up real quick. My god, they're little castles.
No, they're pipes, because it's, you know, Pipeland.
Oh, of course. Excellent work as always, Fluff. Thank you. That'll be all for now. Anyway, if you get enough juice, there's a 1-up hidden up here. Assuming you have wings at this point, by which, of course, I always mean a tail. Be careful. Hit the wrong pipe and you'll get knocked back down a ways. The block to the right of these contains a 1-up. It's a little tricky to get to. I assume it's probably going to fall to the left if you get far enough to hit it on the right, but I'm assuming at this point in the game, if you've been following along with this Super Mario Bros. 3 walkthrough, that you probably don't need extra lives at this point. So, if you do have wings, you can wrap around to use that as runway and get to this coin area right here. Take this pipe, and it'll shoot you right out the top here. There's one more hidden 1-up just above here. Use this small bit of clearance that you have to take care of these Koopa Troopas. planned that out very well. And it's right if you jump off of this Koopa Troopa and go straight up, get that one up. And we'll chase after it. Why not? Why not at this point? And then again, any excuse to fly. Just like that, 7-1 in the books. Can we get one last? Nope. Knew that was, the timing was a little bit off when I came in with a full P meter and then, well, you saw what happened. Anyway. And thankfully we don't have to backtrack to go to that other pipe. The one we want is right here. There are quite a few pipes. If you take that one, it'll spit you out at a locked gate. So, if we take this pipe on the right though, this will take us to an item house with your standard mushroom, fire flower, and super leaf combo. Third box, always a lock, even in Pipeland? Nope. You don't really have anyone on staff to crunch the numbers. I want to say maybe about 50% of the time that third pipe is paid out with the item that we want. So with a 1 in 3 chance, if you can average 50%, I'd say that's pretty good. This is the final white mushroom house level of the game, and you need to have a frog suit equipped to get all the coins that you need. The coin total is 46 for this stage, and you'll see why you need to have the frog suit in just a second. Go through this pipe after you take care of that plant, grab all of these coins before you hit the P switch, and then swim as quickly as you can. Again, only Frog Mario can handle himself like this quickly enough in the water to collect all the coins that you need to hit that 46. There we go. At this point, go up this pipe here or go to the right to the next one. If you go up this pipe, then hop over to the right here and drop down. We're going to need to hit a bunch of these note blocks here to create a bridge for ourselves so we can actually cross this. Otherwise we will fall through like we just did. And if you want to get rid of your frog suit as desperately as I do right here, then you can grab yourself a super leaf and then head back up. Can't get up here, the entire ceiling is lined with these note blocks, but we'll retreat back into this pipe and then go into this one again here. And we can go to the right this time without worry of falling through. Almost. The one up right there, but it's gonna drop in. Just wanted to point that out. There's a fire flower down below if you go through one of these pipes. But yeah, we're just gonna power through this at this point. A little dangerous. This is the exit pipe right here. We should have enough coins to activate the white mushroom house and get that final P-Wing. But yeah, that's a pretty solid trade in my book. A frog suit for a P-Wing. I'll take that trade every single time. And there it is. We don't even have to really go out of our way to get to it. And while we're grabbing this and moving forward, let's go to Fluff for some facts about the movie this game is inextricably linked to, The Wizard.
I mentioned earlier how Mario 3 was heavily featured in the ending of the 1989 film The Wizard, which saw Fred Savage and Jenny Lewis take his PTSD-stricken little brother across the country to compete in a Nintendo video game tournament in California.
California.
Thanks, Jimmy. Fred Savage does this after discovering his little brother's phenom-level ability to kick butt at Nintendo games. Inspired by the film Tommy, which told the story of a pinball wizard, get it? Tom Pollock of Universal Studios approached Nintendo's marketing department in 1989 with the idea of making a modern video game version of Tommy for younger audiences. Nintendo licensed its products, including the infamous Power Glove for use in the film, and the filmmakers had to get approval from Nintendo regarding the script and portrayal of its products in the film. The film culminates with the aforementioned video game tournament, which heavily features Super Mario Bros. 3. Despite poor ratings from critics who dismissed the movie as a cheesy and massive Nintendo product endorsement, which basically it was, the film earned a cult following particularly from the kids of the 80s and 90s. IGN has since referred to the film as essentially a 90-minute commercial for Super Mario Bros. 3, and it played a big role in its marketing as the film was released in December 1989, just 2 months before Super Mario Bros. 3 hit the shelves in the US.
Thank you, Fluff. Yeah, you mentioned holds a special place in the hearts of kids of the 80s and the 90s. I always have a soft spot for it. I've watched it a few times over the last, probably 15 years. It's alright, you know? You have to take off the blinders a little bit, but there is a charm to it. My most recent memory was when my brother was home visiting, got the family together, and for whatever reason, my brother insisted that we all watch it, even with our parents, and my only memory of this was my dad whispering to my mom, loud enough so that I could hear it, whether he meant to or not. Why are we watching this? Never forget that. But anyway, mine the Gelectro Field, my favorite, probably named enemies from this game. What do you get when you mix jellyfish and electrocution, Gelectro? There you go. Sometimes the names they're right there for you. They're just sitting there in front of you, waiting to be grasped. As was the case with Gelectro, I assume. These are lava lotuses. They shoot out these little spores-looking things. Nice being around the fish, though, the boss bass, the Cheep Cheeps of different colors. They come in all different colors, the Cheep Cheeps, and just being able to roast them with our fire flour. There it is. Might be the last one we get in this game, I don't know. Really doesn't matter, but love that sound. I will say that. And sorry, not to linger on this. Fluff already mentioned pretty much everything we need to hear about the wizard for the rest of this class, but not to poke holes in a shoddy at best movie from 1989, but Jimmy ended up getting a lot of points enough to win the competition. Sorry, spoiler alert for a film that's over 30 years old. There at the end, by using warp whistles, when you don't get any points from using warp whistles. I can confirm that. We tested it ourselves. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is kind of a tricky level to get through. There's a very specific route you need to take here. A lot of invisibly locked off ways to go. So just follow along here. As you can see right there, you bash that and create a ceiling, or a floor, depending on which side you're on. Pop up here, grab yourself a 1-up. It should go to the left there, into that pipe, which we actually do want to go into. There she is. Run over that. Drop down in this pipe. Just coins in these two blocks right there. Pop back up here. We need to make a floor above us. Well, right here, sure, but grab one of these blocks right here and then go down the pipe with it. We're going to use this to get rid of the spiny. Just walking back and forth here, and then run over here and then create a floor right here. So we can loop around going back this way, and then when we come down that pipe, we'll have a floor to walk on. Then we gotta make another floor right here. And now we have everything we need, so we'll just go through the route that we just created for ourselves. One up here on the right. And then take the bridge, and we're out. Save yourself a little time. That's the fastest way, most direct route to get out of there. Another star. So the item house down here is a special suit random pick. So we have a frog suit, Tanuki, or the hammer suit. Here's hoping for... Oh man, pulling a frog suit right there is almost enough to make me renounce the entire... Last one's a lock. I can't even remember the rhyme, so I think after saying it, or attempting to say it about 10 times, I think that's a good sign that maybe it's not worth it, but anyway. This fortress is a bit of a trip. Scrooge McDuck would love this fortress. If you're not sure why, there you go. Anyway, my recommended route is to hit that P switch, which will reveal the door, go through the door, take the pipe, and then Consolation will get our Tanuki suit nonetheless. We do get to fly through that massive coin room if we so wish. Float down here to the bottom left. And I just can't resist it. This is not necessary, but it's just fun. Mario should have his Scrooge McDuck moment. We all should. Even though I can't always help but think it would just break your neck if you dove headfirst into a pile of money, a pile of coins. But anyway. Take that door there when you've had your fill, assuming there's still blocks, and go to the left and fly up here. Just to the left of that kind of plus sign on the wall. Be much darker DuckTales if Scrooge just snapped his neck, was paralyzed for the remainder. Alright, boom boom. Get some lift here. He can fly, we can fly better. Done. This next stage is completely optional. We're actually going to go through the pipe to the right beyond level 6, but if you don't have any P-Wings at this point, or if you just want one more, not a bad stop. I recommend having at least a Super Leaf though when you come in here. Maybe even use a star before you come here. As you can see, there's a lot going on, a lot of projectiles, a lot of plants. If you can get through though, take this pipe down. And your reward is a P-Wing. Not too shabby in the least. Alright, so now we're going to head to 7-6. And this stage is pretty straightforward, so we got him, Ben? Have we got him back? Let's welcome back in one more time Mario. Thanks for joining us once again, Mario.
Very good, but Professor Mario here you talk about the wizard, but here you talk about he's a Mario movie.
I feel like we acknowledged it earlier and we talked to... Sorry, are you trying to promote the Blu-ray release or something?
Oh no, Mario no need to promote anything. Everyone and their mother has seen the Super Mario Bros. Movie at least twice. No, I was wondering if I can ask you a question, Professor.
Oh, yeah, sure. Shoot, go ahead.
Well, Mario, here want to know what you think about his Super Mario movie. What you think, Professor?
Oh, yeah, I thought it was okay.
What do you mean, okay?
Yeah, it was fine, but about Pipeland. So I heard...
The Mario movie has a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. That means almost everyone in the whole world, their mama loved it. What's wrong with you, Professor? Are you stupid or something?
No, you just proved my point. I thought it was okay. I'm part of that 95%.
95% means that everybody loved it, Professor. What is wrong with you?
God, you're like my mom, Mario. No, that score means that 95% of people who saw it at least liked it. Some of them loved it, sure. Others thought the plot was pretty boring, but they enjoyed the Easter eggs and animation, so they'd give it a 3 out of 5. Still technically a positive review, which adds to that 95%.
Say something nice about a Mario's movie, or you'll never see him again!
Oh, I thought your acting has come a really long way since that screen test you did for 1993's Super Mario Bros. Movie.
What?
Oh, you remember. We tracked it down and showed it in our class on the first Super Mario Bros. I think we still have it. Ben?
Oh no, it's very bad. I'm falling. Oh, this is very bad. Oh, catch me, John Leguizamo. Oh, you missed, you bastard, John Leguizamo. Oh no, I'm falling. Oh, fuck, catch me this time. Oh, good job, John Leguizamo.
Good catch, huh, Mario? I should try out for the Yankees.
I'd high-five you, but then you'd be an only child.
Yeah, so that was awful. You've come such a long... Mario? Mario, everybody. Mario. This stage is another instance where you want to make sure you keep pace to get all the stars. Otherwise, if it wears off, you won't find a star in the next one. So just move as quickly as possible here. Shouldn't be too difficult since you'll have the star at this point. This one might be a little tricky to get, but if you can pick it up just in time. It's alright if the first one wears off as long as that star is coming out of the box when you hit it. That's how you get through that stage unscathed. And there it is. That might be the final triple star that we get. Very appropriate finishing card, considering the amount of stars we went through on that stage there. Might be the simplest theme in this game, but one of my favorites, the Pipeland theme. There's a couple secrets to be found here on 7-8. First, some coins in the sky, for what it's worth. Nothing but. When they hide something like that up there, you'd expect it to be something fancy, something special. The star in this leftmost block. The one up in this one here. There we go. And there's a hidden red music block right there, a note block. Go back up to the sky to get some more coins. And then if we drop straight down, if we go to the left, right back, it's the leftmost, that one right there, the left pipe. If you go in there, you can get yourself a hammer suit. I'm gonna rock the Tanuki a little bit longer. See how long we can hold on to it. It's just such a good look for Mario, I have to say. If he hadn't stormed off for the third or fourth time today, I would have told him that, but... And there goes the Tanuki suit. There's a good lesson right there as we threaten to lose our first life here. Yeah, you can't, those pedal enemies can't get them underneath like that. Whack of the tail will get it done, but... Anyway, another 1 in 3 chance of getting ourselves a Tanuki, or a hammer suit here, or a frog suit. We got a frog suit earlier. Let's see if our fortunes can change. Alright then. I'm turning my back on the third chest. Come a long way from me swearing by it, praising it, to absolutely changing my mind. Is what it is. Alright, this is a bit of a maze here. Note the fire flower that dropped out of that music note block. Yeah, we'll show you the fastest route to get through this little pipe maze here. It's like one of those mazes you'd find on the back of a cereal box or something. If we could pan out, we could find the route through here, but a lot of trial and error involved. But that's the fastest route. The only route, actually, come to think of it, for the most part. So even though 6, or Land 6, World 6 has 10 stages in it, I guess maybe Pipeland has a bit more stages overall, kind of sneakily, because we have, what, a couple fortresses, we have a couple of those random stages on top of that, so... a lot going on here. Grab this star to give yourself a little breathing room, make some moves without worrying about some of these tricky jumps. Fire flower, very useful. It was. Was for a moment here, in the second fortress of World 7. And note, just being above one of the piranha plants will keep it from popping out. Kind of like standing next to the pipe. Same idea. The booze got us there. It's alright. We're through most of it at this point. Do a little Little sneaky slide here. Dry Bone's about to wake up, though. Yeah, that one's tough to do. If you come in at full speed and get that running duck, then you can generally squeeze right through, but you gotta time it up with the roto disc. Anyway, no worries about being small Mario when we're taking on a Boom Boom. Easiest boss in history when you just stick to that rhythm. The star works pretty well on this next piranha plant level, but the absence of a star, then let's just be silly and let's be a frog. We're gonna burn this in a couple seconds anyway. Just using it as a barrier at this point, yep, and it served its purpose. Bad timing, alright. This might be the first death right here. Use that Koopa as a makeshift note block right there. And then, what do we get for all that trouble? Just a run-in-the-mill super mushroom. Oh well. Alright, finally, after a very long stage, let's use that mushroom. Very appropriate that the king's been transformed into a piranha plant. Like that Toad still puts the crown on the piranha plant, I guess to maintain some sort of order in the kingdom. That's fair. One of the faster moving airships. Of course, it's all relative once we get to the final Dark Land. Definitely can't get this one all the way over unless you're using turbo. Just get it far enough from the start and then just be prepared to make a nice running jump to get the rest of the way. And note that those propellers, if you walk into them, those will do damage to you, so be careful around those. Not that you have any reason to be down in that area, but just something to keep in mind. We can reverse these by hitting them underneath with jumps, and then use it to access that area. Oh well. We can still get up there and find another fire flower from the backside. Who designs these airships, by the way? Just random thought while we're doing this. Most of the pieces aren't connected. You kind of wonder how some of them are even being propelled. Not all of them have propellers on them. Like, what's going on with this piece right here? Just put that out far enough so that we can use it as a platform. The guy that designed this airship is related to the guy who makes Arthur from Ghosts and Goblins his armor. Makes just as much sense. Just be ready to make a quick jump here, otherwise you'll fall through that cylinder. We've made it to the final Koopa kid, Gary.
Boss beaters. Ludwig von Koopa. Once again, he's got some weight to him. You want to make sure you're in the air when he lands. He does the double jump thing as well. But yeah, same strategy. Jump on his head. Go left or right, wherever you got more room. And yeah, just jump on his head. Get those hits in before he gets his shots off. 3 takes him down.
Good call, Gary. Thank you very much. We return one final wand to one final king. You gotta cut off the head of the snake. That's the only way that we can be assured that Bowser won't try to overtake these lands again. Remember, there was an episode of the Super Mario Bros. 3 cartoon show, which, with all the facts we didn't even... Oh! Koopa with the bait and switch this time. By the way, we didn't mention this in the first 2.5 hours of the Super Mario Bros. 3 walkthrough, but This is clearly a classic example of the rescue the princess trope. Get that up on the board. There it is, right next to Battletoads and Ghosts and Goblins. You can see we've been doing some very challenging games as of late. Some of our toughest classes yet in this stretch. Which, again, no disrespect to Mario, at least in that regard, but this is not one of the most challenging games on the NES. It does have its moments, particularly in these final two lands. Pipe Land and Dark Land, I would say, are the most challenging. Thing about Dark Land, which we are on now, there's a lot of, obviously, moving parts here on this first tank level. A lot of things to dodge and avoid, but it's not the most difficult. If you want to use a P-Wing, if you have a nice stock, you can go ahead and burn one here. Just fly over the entire level. But when I was a kid, I was always a warp whistle guy because, you know, you play through the game a couple times and then eventually, you know, you don't have a whole 3+ hours to devote to this game. You can slide under here to grab if you're Big Mario at that point, to grab that leaf. So yeah, I would use the warp whistles quite a bit, and got very well acquainted with Dark Land, so in some ways this is one of the more manageable lands for me if you're like me and you warped a lot if you cheated a lot as a kid, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So I know all of these levels particularly well, arguably better than anything outside of Grassland. Got some very tricky levels coming up. Always used a cloud on the fortress. Duck here. That is the big cannon. That's the sister ray. We have any Final Fantasy VII fans in class today. But that's it. Watch out for those cannonballs coming up as you're moving to the right there. And nothing but a Boomerang brother at the helm here. I guess at the helm, he's just sort of in this chamber. I don't know who's in charge, but took care of him. Burning through some more stuff here. Now, willing to bet that most of the class knows this secret, but we're gonna show it nonetheless because it's just one of my favorite hacks of any video game. If you want to go through that little barrage of cannonballs right there, you can grab the Fire Flower. If you're small Mario, it's a lot easier to evade the shots and get in there and get that mushroom and it comes out to you. But anyway, jump into the water here and then duck underneath the boat. Make sure you don't go so low that you drown, fall to the bottom off the screen and die. Just gotta make sure that you're low enough so that you don't get caught in the front of that boat and just keep tapping that A button to swim. Absolutely love this hack. Thought I discovered gold the first time I gave this a shot. Just making all those rocky wrenches look foolish. Pop out, we can do it again. I have gotten caught once or twice on the front of that boat. You think you're down low enough. You know, you don't want to go so low that you end up losing a life anyway, so. Yeah, so much wasted artillery. As we pop out here, the only tricky part is getting out of the water. Here we go. Alright, we got a boom boom here, yeah. Boom boom on a boat, down he goes. Alright, we're moving into the hand trap section. Anyone else ever get scared when they were playing this as a kid? Anticipating one of the hands reaching out and grabbing Mario or Luigi? Just me? So there is a 50% chance for each of the three, and there we go. A 50-50 chance every time you step on one of the three squares that can trigger one of the hand traps, that a hand will reach out and take you to one of these mini levels right here, and we have a super leaf as the prize for getting through it. They're all pretty straightforward, but with a 50-50 chance on each of these, that means you have a 12.5% chance of triggering none of the hands and getting through unscathed, or you have a 12.5% chance of getting grabbed by all the hands. So there you go. Math. And speaking of math, 2 is better than 1, and Fluff, why don't you tell us about the minigame we can only play with 2 players?
If you're playing this game with 2 players, there's a fun Easter egg which can be unlocked in the form of a fully playable and more fleshed out version of the Mario Bros. Arcade game, which was released 5 years earlier in 1983. To access this game, simply access the square the other player is on like a level, and you'll both be transported into a battle-type game where the objective is to collect 3 out of 5 coins or outlive your opponent as various enemies appear from the pipes. There are even additional bonus games which trigger less frequently, and a fixed cycle which involve collecting more coins than your opponent, as they shoot out of a pipe, are hidden in boxes, or are found bouncing around the screen. The winner of this game within the game gets their turn next in Mario 3 regardless of whose turn it was meant to be. You can even steal the end stage cards the other player has collected to that point by hitting them from beneath like an enemy and grabbing their loose card as it bounces free. You can earn 1-ups with 3 cards just like you would had you completed a stage. All told, this mini-game was a great way to needlessly create tension between friends or siblings in an otherwise friendly co-op game where the goal is to work together to beat the game.
Thanks, Fluff. Yeah, I love that they included that, but how about that? What'd I say? 12.5% chance of hitting all those, and that's exactly what happened. This is the one stage in the game where I absolutely recommend using a P-Wing. There's another one coming up where it helps, but this one, the ships are moving a little quickly. Got wrenches hanging around a little bit too long. Flames to avoid. Definitely don't try this stage without, at the very least, a raccoon tail. Certainly possible, but it's just when the screen is scrolling this quickly. Alright, well, I'll get to show you how this is possible at this point. Some of these jumps, you absolutely need to make sure that you're running to make your connections. Thread those needles. Wait on this jump right here. Whether or not you have the... Careful not to slide into that rocky wrench there. There you go. Not the most difficult, but certainly one of the more challenging levels in this game, without a doubt. This stretch of dark land, true to its name, very dark. Thankfully, Mario thought to bring a light, apparently. I recommend having the ability for flight in this stage. Doesn't have to be Tanuki. By the way, if you go straight up, there is a switch, which triggers a whole mess of coins right down here. Pretty fantastic. Didn't go. That would have been a bad death. Bad first death. An unforced error, but yeah, just build up that runway speed right there and drop in this pipe. Grab ourselves some 1-ups. Interestingly went through the box right there. And slide down. Some tricky platforming coming up ahead. You'll be grateful for the ability to stagger your drop with that tail. Gotta use that Koopa Troopa shell for a boost. Make sure you have that A button tapped at just the right time. You can use the bullet bill or you can use the note. It's whatever you feel more comfortable with. That is a very difficult jump to make without the raccoon tail, but you get to avoid a decent chunk of the difficult platforming of that stage by taking that pipe, the 3 1-up shortcut that we used. This is a fun one, the return of the angry sun, but we're gonna get sucked down into this sand pit right here. go to the left here and we can grab a super leaf. We're just gonna head to the right here. Grab ourselves some coins. I'm gonna go back and get the rest. Let's build up some speed and start flying again. Saying things we both already know at this point. I would hope by the final land of this Mario 3 walkthrough. Tricky slope here. Alright, build up some speed here, and definitely going to want to fly if you have the tail to avoid a lot of the obstacles. Make this stage a whole heck of a lot easier. Avoid a tricky jump with a couple note blocks just by flying over that massive gap that we didn't even see. And now we go to the trickiest fortress in this game. I mean, not really, not if you know what you're doing, but if you don't know what you're doing, you could be stuck in here for a very long time. Here's the route I suggest. Don't recommend picking up something that takes away the ability of flight. Or floating down, better said. Very useful for these lava pits and avoiding the fireballs that pop out. Just run across that little gap there. Mine turned off for a second as I was explaining that. Did not mean to get rid of the Tanuki. Time this up, wait for that flame to drop back down, and flap over to the right here. And if you have a tail, you can just bash your way through this wall. With the star, it's, yeah, when you're jumping, makes it more difficult, but we're gonna go all the way to the right and then drop down here to hit a P switch. And then we're gonna go all the way to the right, ignoring this one that appears. It's a false door. Just a little decoy, and then just wait for that P switch to disengage, and the conveyor belt will start up again and take us to what I believe is the penultimate Boom Boom. Second to last Boom Boom, and one of the trickier ones because we're dealing with him on a conveyor belt, but still not that tricky. Down he goes. Go to the left here through the pipe. All the other pipes just act as shortcuts for when the locks have come down. This is the final level before Bowser's Castle. This is where the majority of the budget of Bowser's land that he rules over here. It's where most of the tax money goes, that's what I'm trying to say. Lots of artillery, lots of cannons, a whole lot of guns, and some wrenches. Someone needs to maintain these hundreds and hundreds of tanks, or pieces of tanks, after all. Still not too difficult here, though. These ones don't respawn, thankfully. Most of the rocky wrenches that we fought on the airships earlier did, but not the tank ones. Bowser's finally running low on troops, even after the draft. Really getting into the specifics of Bowser's operation here. Taxation, conscription. Anyway. You just thread the needle, duck when you need to duck, and this should take us to our final Boom Boom of this game. Maybe this will be the one that finally gets a hit on us? No. Oh well. Alright, on to Koopa's castle. Bowser's castle. Koopa Bowser? What is the difference, actually? Can we get Fluff back in here while we do a massive items burn? Fluff, what's the difference between Bowser and Koopa? Is it just regions? I mean, why both?
The reason why is because in Japan, Bowser is named Koopa, while the Koopa Troopa enemies are named Nako Nako. In English, having both Koopa as in the King of the Koopas and Koopa the turtle-like baddie would be confusing.
Yes, I suppose it would. Thank you very much, Fluff. Guess we're stuck with that hammer. Should have used it earlier if we wanted to get rid of it. Squeeze a cloud on Bowser's castle. Just breeze right by it, take the princess with us. As I said, we're having our say anything moment, just burning all these music boxes outside of Bowser's castle. We're just run straight through at full speed to avoid those beams. Take this elevator up right here. I went with the hammer suit to attempt to fulfill a dream. Maybe too grandiose a term. Something I've always wanted to do and never done. Never attempted taking down Bowser with the hammer suit. I recommend staying to the left here. Watch out for that one particular flame that pops out. It only goes so high. We can jump over it here. Go all the way up, and when you're hitting the ceiling, then go to the right and drop down to this second from the top. Ride that down. Actually, we can get rid of the thwomp with one of these hammers. But yeah, just wait for him to back up. As he's backing up, hit the spaghetti-o, as I call it, and ride it down. And hopefully we can hang on to this. The only beam that fires there. Definitely not trying to pick that up right now. And now we have some flames. We just want to trigger these ahead of time, basically. Just gotta come out a little bit. Sometimes we don't always have room to react to it, so you just have to be ready to make that jump again. But some of these you can tease, like that one right there. Cheat it out. And it is time for Bowser with hammers. 1, 2. I think this works. 3, 4, 5. Alright. I'm just playing though. We're gonna bring in Gary now for a genuine boss beater. Gary, take us home.
Boss beater. Alright, Bowser, pretty basic strategy. You want to lure him to the leftmost bricks, the ones that are above the pit, mind you, as we show. Jump to the center of the room at the last second. Go to the rightmost bricks like we show, and repeat. We're basically just trying to get that pit on the left side. Avoid his fireballs. If you do the pitfall, that'll kill him, obviously. 5 hammers will kill him, or 35 fireballs win the day.
Alright, thank you very much, Gary. Yeah, this is from a kind of more of a speed run, just using the warp whistles to get to this point. It's the 100,000 points and 6 lives. And there you go, just like that. And I'm told, Fluff, you have one more fact about Bowser here?
Just to add to what Gary said, Professor, there's a way to neuter Bowser's flame-throwing ability if you have a P-Wing. Reach Bowser's lair with a P-Wing, and hug the left wall and fly to the top before you trigger Bowser. Drop off the wall at the left side and drop down, sticking to the right for the most part, to find yourself back in Bowser's lair. He'll drop down, take a deep breath, and nada. Suck on that, Bowser. That's right, we cheat.
Yes, for educational purposes only, just to display that right there.
Professor, can I share my strategy?
You got one for Bowser too, Blaze?
Yes, I do.
Alright, go ahead.
Alright, so ironically, my strategy does not involve items. In fact, it's probably better if you're Small Mario. The reason being is that the lower half of Bowser cannot hurt you. So if he lands on you while you're ducked or Small Mario, he'll do 0 damage. The benefit of being Small Mario is you can still move around and avoid his fireballs, but for the most part you don't even have to move with this strategy as we show. Just let Bowser keep jumping between the same 2 tiles on the floor. Eventually he'll jump through. The only time you need to move is when he's coming down for that final jump. But there you go, an easy way to take down Bowser without a single item.
Good call, Blaze. Thank you. There you go. We've given you 4 different ways to take down Bowser as we head back to the original, the true timeline here. It's like the multiverse, the Mario-verse, just multiple timelines all into... Wait, what did we do with the hammer suit, by the way? Just ditch that in the hallway, I guess? princess not into that look, I guess. As we rescue the princess, we showed you the trope list already. One last nice little nod to the original Super Mario Brothers here. She thanks us, but our princess in another castle. There are no more castles. We went through the entire world. Although I do appreciate your reference there, princess. Bye-bye. She's like, you weren't going to hang around, were you? I have things to do now that I'm free. They don't really involve you, Mario. One last fact to mention, if you restart the game after this, check your inventory, you'll find 28 P-Wings waiting for you, so we actually use that in the Fluff timeline to show you how to kind of de-fang Bowser, de-fire breath Bowser, however you want to call that. Snuff out his flames, but anyway. There you go, Super Mario Bros. 3. 8 worlds, every secret revealed in this one Super Mario Bros. 3 walkthrough. Thank you so much for attending this class, everyone. I'm pretty satisfied with this one. Got to play one of the classics. Mario told me my ska cover of his theme was garbage. And we even got to show that awful screen test that Mario did years ago once again. All in all, this was a pretty good class. Speaking of which, we do one of these classes every single week in the same spot. If you haven't already done so, please click that subscribe button to enroll in this class. We really do appreciate it. Click that like button if you don't mind as well. It really does help us out to make future classes for you. And leave a comment. What does this game mean to you? Did you play it growing up? Did you play it later? Did we show you anything today maybe you didn't know about? Even if we didn't show you anything new, if you know this game inside and out, we hope you still had a great time, maybe made you laugh once or twice. We'll gladly take that. But that's our time. We'll see you next week in the same spot for next week's class, right here on Video Games 101. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and comment on this video, and click subscribe if you haven't already, as this seriously helps me to keep making great content for you. And check the description of this video to see what song is playing right now.